Now, before we get tonight's broadcast on our way, qualifying is starting. I want to take a brief highlight to the moment for the fastest driver in practice. This moment, I'm sure, is something you haven't seen anywhere else on iRacing. Take a look at this. The number 9 machine, Justin Morton, in Toyota, doing super high lunges in that number 9, and it seems like he's found a vulnerability in iRacing as he goes up and down and around, and he has a bit of a party following him. This is your highlight for practice as Morton the fastest by 7,000ths of a second. Just a bit of a rewind there as you can see Thomas Bressi goes for the exact same trick in that number 24. And what a trick it appears to be, a bit of a ledge glitch here on iRacing. If you get to it at the perfect time, your tire seems to have a bit of a problem. And the 24 tries to get it successfully, rolls it in, and does he get it that time by? I thought he did. Maybe Joe Dinsworth's going to come in and help here. As you see, Thunderous pushes him, and that's what sets it off again. Unbelievable glitch as we get this thing going. But as you can see, he's stuck in the sky and then comes back down. It will be all about the trip around Talladega, the 2.66 mile super speedway. And this is the Splash and Go Graphics 234, your 234 mile event for the high banks in Alabama. And as we get it going, you can see that number 24 machine of Thomas Bressi there in frame. Bressi in the number 24 machine, looking good so far and still trying to make it happen as he's had a very consistent start to the season. Currently going to be 4th on the qualifying charts. Jonathan Girvan going to be in that number 33 on provisional pole with a 54.116. Now, Talladega, much different from most of the tracks in the sense that if you have a fast lap in single car qualifying, the pace might not transfer over in a long run, and vice versa. One of those tracks dependent on the draft. So as we get things going here, you're going to have to learn how to work with the drivers around you, surround yourself with the right people, and that will lead you to success more than any individual lap can get you there. The number 33 for PepsiCo going to be able to take it in nice and smooth again, and that time by, now he's down to 11th, and he'll be able to jump back up into, it looks like, the top 10 as Rob Ackley, who won your Speedway race at Daytona. Well, he's back up front once again on the charts. He's currently first on the board here in qualifying, and pole day treating him nicely. The number 22 machine out in front by 62/1000ths of a second. Still a lot of time for drivers to set laps, so no big rush or worry when it comes down to getting into qualifying here. Ackley's going to be top of the board. Thomas Bressi now going to be in second, and Hayden Pastorius going to be there in position number 3. Casey Shue going to be 4th, Brandon Bernhardt going to be 5th, and Brian McFerrin now going to be in the Super 6, 6th spot on the board. He's about 60,000ths off of your pole position with Timothy Johnston in 8th as Alan Dobbs is already done with his qualifying run in 7th. And Ackley now is a 15,000th of a second advantage, and while he still has that lead here in qualifying, it has been cut down big time by the chrome and green number 24. Thomas Bressi has had some great runs so far, battling fiercely with drivers such as Ethan Lane to start the season. Has not gotten a win just yet, but he's going to be one of the drivers to look out for as we get into it this time by, and it's going to be the 24 still looking for a bit more. Not going to get it that time through, as it's going to be Anthony DeBarro now sliding his way up into the 2nd spot in that number 27 DeBarro Sliders machine. So a great run in qualifying for him. Hayden Pastorius going to be in 4th, Casey Shue going to be in 5th, and Brandon Bernhardt in position number 6, as now Matthew Thunderous in the number 8 machine goes up into 7th, and it's going to be a bit of a vice versa scenario as the man in 8th on the board is the driver of the number 7 in Brian McFerrin. It's going to be Timothy Johnston rounding out the top 10, and Todd Thomas on his first event in the season, going to be that 38 on the car, but it's going to be the 78 on the screen, who's 11th. So drivers getting their laps in, as it looks like Carson Beidel going to be another debutant tonight. Alec Daffin going to be 31st. Shane Ewing 31st now, as Daffin gets shot down at a 32nd. And it seems like the good majority of the field is set to go. But we still see drivers going on their way. The warehouse design number 3 machine of Cody Griffin on the move. Braxton DeWeese going to be there as well in the number 15. And the Jeff Schmidt 15 able to put together a solid top 10 run last time we went racing at Okayama. Looking to do so once again here as Cody Griffin, as well as the 15. 2 drivers still looking forward to getting qualifying laps in. So without further ado, we got 2 drivers still going at it. That's Cal Filarski, Jacob Fife, Trevor Trago, Gael Brooks, Justin Rowden, and Justin Carey are the drivers that have not yet stepped foot or put their cars on the circuit regardless, as it looks like we have a field of about 40 strong getting ready to do it in Talladega. Cody Griffin going to be with that number 15 machine on the circuit, and they're going to take their highline lap up on the top indeed. 3 minutes remain here, so they have a bit of time to get a lap or 2 with momentum. And it seems like drivers taking up to 3-4 timed laps here, and it's going to be all about time and not about the lap number in specific as drivers continue to warm themselves up at Talladega. Now when it comes to Talladega Superspeedway, the start-finish line is just after pit exit, and it's not beforehand. So Talladega, of course, with that shifted start-finish line, makes things a bit different even on pit entry here. And now DeWeese going to drop down to the bottom, 33rd on the board for him. And for Cody Griffin, going to now take him by about 0.2 of a second. This is the lap that matters here for DeWeese, and it looks like Cody Griffin going to wait just a bit as he's 33rd on the board in that number 3, and patience will be key for him as he does not go down to the inside line. This time by, he sent it down just a lane. And the reason for him doing that compared to going down like DeWeese is he's trying to get the most laps with the most momentum. Much higher speed to the high side, even if it is just a bit more distance. So he's gradually making his way down to ensure that number 3 machine has enough power in it for the laps beforehand on his flyer. It's not a one and done here at Talladega or Daytona or any track of the like in most instances. You have to warm yourself up for the perfect qualifying run, and I believe that's what Rob Ackley did at number 22, and he's out in front for a reason. A great superspeedway racer. He won at Daytona already this season. He looks to have pole position set. Now, if Cody Griffin can do anything that time, 4th, as Cal Filarski going to make his way out of the track for the first time in the number 6. Braxton DeWeese going to go into 13th, although now he is on pit road. So Griffin, one of the very few drivers on as Cal Filarski and the number 21 of Justin Carey are getting set to put laps in that time by, both of which round the back straightaway, and Filarski going to make it in, this time by to the front. It looks like he'll make it in first of the 2 drivers still going in qualification. Down to the stripe this time by, going to be 1 minute to do it, so this will have to be the flyer if he can get anything out of it. Here we go, number 6 machine of Cal Filarski. And Filarski down to that inside line, they're going to be able to make it nice and smooth. And as he goes, Filarski in that number 6 machine rounds the back here and makes it nice and steady. Looking at him go, he's going to keep it nice attached to that circuit. Very little deficit in time or in pace thus far as it stands. Going to have a nice and smooth lap in that top 30, maybe the top 25. If he can make anything happen, we will see the remains of his lap. Going to come in very, very soon. The number 6 machine rounds the final turn this time by Justin Carey. Going to be right there in tow. And as Carey makes it through, he's going to have just about 10 seconds on the board to make it happen, and it looks like he will be able to come down to the start-finish line this time by with very little hesitation and very little loss of momentum. Look at him go. Carey's going to be in for 36, Filarski there for 30th, and that's going to be your final driver putting in a lap here in Talladega for qualifying. Rob Ackley going to be on that pole position. We have 5 minutes of warm-up before we get the show on the road. So without further ado, give us just a moment as we get it in. Your starting grid for tonight's Splash and Go 2, 3, 4, and the show will be on the road. This time by Doug Mindorf, Chris DeWeese, Kerry Hopkins, Alan's Art Images. Thank you all for stopping by as we are just getting started and drivers continue to roll onto the circuit. This is warm-up, so a bit more time for these drivers to practice their stuff and see what they have in store. And as they round the back, of course, some are onto the back, most of which waiting on the front straightaway to get into a pack. The number 22 of Rob Ackley not yet on the circuit, but the 22 looks to be the man who will come out with that pole position regardless. Qualifying where he made it count, and Ackley, knowing so, is going to have that pole position here in Talladega for a total of 88 laps of action in Alabama indeed. The Alabama International Motor Speedway, as it was originally known, is going to be the host of tonight's show in the Integrity Ignite Series after a great race at Okayama. And as we get ready for another great race, it's going to be the driver of the number 22, as we mentioned beforehand, your pole sitter here in Talladega for the Splash and Go Graphics 234, Rob Ackley with a 53.916, going to be there in first. And right behind him, it's going to be Thomas Bresci in third, but don't forget Anthony DeBarlo is going to be in second with a 53.929 there in a second. Thomas Bresci going to be in third with a 53.932, and Hayden Pastori is going to be in fourth with a 53.934. Casey Shue going to make it all fit perfect. He's going to be in fifth, number 4 machine with a 53.941, and Brandon Bernhardt's going to be there in the 6th spot with a 53.966. Matthew Thunhorst, take a look at that, going to be the number 8 machine in 7th, 53.972, and as we mentioned before, Brian McFerrin going to be 8th on the charts with the number 7 machine. Alan Dobbs in the 05 going to be 9th, and Timothy Johnston rounds out your top 10. And as we go on from there, 11th going to be Todd Thomas on debut in the 53.990. Nicholas Cohon going to round out the top dozen, and inside row number 7, Braxton Luis with Carson Badel in 14th. Shane Ewing, number 32 machine, going to be in 15th. Daniel Foss going to be 16th, as Brandon Wenchard and Alec Daffin round out row number 9. Then it's going to be Travis McQuistion in the 93, and Cody Smith in 20th. And rounding at the top 20, the 18 machine does indeed. Joe Dinsmore going to be 21st. Boomer Logan going to be there in 22nd. Don Stevenson going to be 23rd. Chuck Sweeting going to be 24th, as Cody Griffin is in the 25th spot with Kevin Matz right beside him in 26th. Kevin McGarvey and Kyle Cooper roam number 14. McGarvey on the inside and Kyle Cooper on the outside. Is Nick Tarbuck going to be in that number 29 machine, position number 29 as well. And Cal Falarski rounds out your top 30 with a 54.083 for the man to that number 6 machine. Nice and clean thus far, and the remainder of the field going to go, of course, as follows. Going to be Alan Rodwell there in the 31st spot. Forrest Smith going to be in 32nd with a 54.089. Justin Morton 33rd. Brad Patton going to be in the 34th position. Jonathan Girvin going to be in 35th. Justin Terry going to be the final driver on time with a 54.097 and 36th. Then it's going to be Jacob Fife in 37th. Justin Rowden 38th, then Trevor Drago going to be 39th as Gael Brooks rounds out your top 40, and from there on out, no other driver. The final driver will indeed be the man in that number 71, and that's your starting grid for tonight's event in the Splash and Go Graphics 2, 3, 4, 88 laps that you won't want to miss here live on FTN. We hope you enjoy tonight's action as we get things going. Focus has been on Justin Morton in practice. One of those drivers very good in a pack, and that will pay off in dividends as the night goes on. As Morton comes down to pit road to pit road. Well, it's going to be much shorter than Atlanta that we saw in the NASCAR Cup Series. They have to go for 2 turns on the apron at a speed of about 45 miles an hour. Here, the pit road speed is up to 65. So not only is it a faster pit road speed, it is for a shorter distance that you go slower. So Justin Moore going to be on his way practicing that pit entry in the case that we have a long green flag run. 40 seconds to do it here. Alan Dobbs going to be on his way. Jacob Fife going to be alongside, of course, the number 43 of Alan Rodwell on pit road, right behind Matthew Thunhorst on the charts here, as it looks like only 4 drivers on the circuit have taken timed laps. Now going to make it 6th, as Shane Ewing and Anthony DeBarro are going to be 5th and 6th in this procession. Time is of the essence. Alan Dobbs by a total of 6 seconds, the fastest man in warm-up. Justin Moore going to take another practice run into pit road, going at a speed of about 110 now as he gets it right on his way. And that looks to be it in warm-up. The 05 machine of Alan Dobbs, the fastest man. As we get it going here in the race, the grid will be on your screen in a moment's notice, as a good majority of the drivers choose to skip final warm-up to get things set up inside the car. iRacing gives marginal options for improvement on setups, and it looks like most drivers taking this time to tinker with the car and see what the setup could give them. Steering ratio, brake bias, there's very few adjustments, but if you make them right, they could count all the way. So without further ado, let's get on to this. Rob Ackley going to be on his way very, very soon. As you can see, the iRacing official pace truck, that Ford Mustang, shining bright right in front of our viewing perspective, and he's going to be front and center on the screen, your pace car machine, as Rob Ackley going to be the next man up in that number 22. Kelly Allen, thank you for stopping by, and it looks like you came just in time for the race, so you didn't miss all too much. Your practice qualifying has been settled, and this is the main entree. Your appetizers, they've been served, and hopefully you loved them as we get on to the big show here in Talladega, the Splash and Go Graphics 234 in Alabama International Motor Speedway. The 2.66 mile track, opened in 1969, has played host to NASCAR events since that very year. The trucks, the Xfinity Series, and of course the NASCAR Cup Series, but tonight we use Xfinity Series machines on iRacing. No faster pair for 88 miles and 234 miles, as a matter of fact, for 88 laps, as the laps, of course, count for 2.66 miles each. It's going to be Ackley on his way with DeBarro there as well. Thomas Bressi with Hayden Bastorius. Casey Shue on his way, and the field on your screen. And it goes back to Gael Brooks all the way in 40th. We try to get a shot there. It looks like the driver of the 71 has not yet gone. And that's the reason we see that static angle, as now guys are all far from static. These drivers are on the move one final time before the race gets on its way. Patience, it is key, and it is pivotal to every driver's strategy, but aggression's most likely going to come through once again. Now, Ackley was a beneficiary of a very aggressive move very late into the race last time we went to a plate track at Daytona and came out as the victor as a result. Now he looks to be starting where he last finished at a track such as Talladega. He's in first. Whether or not he's able to keep that, it's all up to the way this race plays out in regard to his strategy, as a lot of drivers got caught up on the wayside of the Daytona event. And granted, our Daytona race was longer both in laps and in mileage, a bit of a shorter dash. Next time we go to Daytona for the Integrity Night Series, it will be 80 laps in August. So a lot of time before the drivers get familiar once again with the high banks, whether it is in southern Florida or in Alabama. The South, nonetheless, the home to some great plate racing, and the 22 and 27 getting ready to lead this one off as Rob Ackley looking to do a back-to-back job in the plate races. A new bracket on its way for another cash bonus. Last time we had them, it was the driver of the number 5 machine and Tyler Hensley who came out on top. Will Rob Ackley be able to put himself on the right foot to get one done? Or with Anthony DeBarro coming with his first win of the season? How about Mr. Consistency in Thomas Bressi? Will he be able to come home with his first win of the season? Or Matthew Thunderst, who looks to be the odds-on championship favorite now, could he come home with yet another? It appears Ethan Lane will not be with us for the foreseeable future, as it looks like he sold his sim racing rig and is chasing the real life quest in racing. We wish him luck, as now these drivers need all the luck they can get to get it done in Talladega. Rob Ackley with Anthony DeBarro, this time by 88 laps to get it done. And it all starts here. It all starts now. Let's go racing from Alabama. This is the green flag in the Splash and Go Graphics 234. And rounding the back straightaway so far, not much has happened. Double file, and it looks like patience is much more in the cards than what we expected. DeBarro going to be up in first, side by side, double file. The 27 now has a bit of an edge. He's out by about a car length so far, and it looks like with that edge, he does not choose to leave those on the high side, and he sticks to where the success has been generated and successfully running up high with that race lead for a moment. But Rob Ackley, with lesser distance being traveled, gets down to the inside once again. He'll be able to lead them down at a first lap this time by, and it's all his by a car length, pushed by Thomas Bressi. 22, 27, 24 out in front. 2 Chevys on the inside line, and it's a super lead on the outside with a Chevy pushing manufacturer dominance. Looks to be going to the bow ties here. The blue oval is going to be represented by Brian McFerrin and Anthony DeBarro, carrying the silver oval in a Toyota out in front on the high side. And every time they go down that back straightaway, well, so far at the very least, the Alabama gang super stretch has been friendly to Anthony DeBarro. He's still going to be up there on the high side, very close to your race leader, but it does not seem he'll be able to get there just yet. Rob Ackley's in the mix. Thomas Bressi holds on strong, and now Timothy Johnston with Nicholas Cohan making it 3 wide already. Not a big push on the inside or the outside thus far. A lot of guys using the aerodynamics to get them by, and that is very wise racing. racing-wise is a lot more important than racing fast in some cases. 88 laps to do it here in Talladega. We got to 2 already. We're on to a third, so as it stands, if you're able to race it wise, race with calculated decisions, you'll make it with much more success than if you race with reckless endangerment, and you'll be out there in front, maybe for a little while, but then when it all comes back to you, you'll be in the back of the field with no fast repair. You won't have a chance, and you won't know what hit you. Right now, Timothy Johnston knows what hit him. It's going to be the 57's rear end. He's out in front, 3 wide on the high side, and now Johnston has that USAA machine right beside your 2 race leaders of old, and he's looking to take this new pack, led by himself, Cohan, Cody Smith, and it looks like one of the driver in Trevor Trago up in front, and it looks like it's actually going to be the 59 machine of Carson Badel with a very similar scheme to Trevor Trago's there, and Badel on debut looking to battle with these guys up front. So a great start for him this season, and great to see more driver participation as the season goes on. A great field of 39 drivers who were able to take the green flag here. It looks like everyone still very close, and that's the great thing about pack racing. It's anyone's drive in some cases. Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the most successful pack racers of all time, and a 2-time NASCAR Busch Series, now Xfinity Series champion, so he would know a thing or two about these tracks and these cars. And he said that Dale Earnhardt Jr., he did say this on Twitter very recently, that it is not just about the draft. Some drivers choose to rely on the draft and take it as a great equalizer, but others choose to push the limits in the way their car is set up. Now, we mentioned in the warm-up, some drivers did take some modifications, and while they're minor, while they are subtle, they could be the reason a driver like Ackley's now in front. It also could come down to racecraft. You could take the sucker hole every time and get yourself a few spots for a short moment, but at other times, it's all about building trust and responsibility. Now, that might be a bit of a, how we should say it, abandoned term of the iRacing world. A lot of drivers seem to be going for themselves. Independence is all in the sim racing scene 9 times out of 10. But at a plate track like Talladega, you have to trust the people who are around you. That's just about the way it goes no matter where we go. But at Talladega, Daytona, a plate track, it's all the more important, and it's all the more visible as the DeBarro Sliders machine going to be side by side with Rob Ackley. Once again, Thomas Bressy's still going to be in the mix, and your pushers have remained the same. Pastorius, loyal to the number 27, and it's been Thomas Bressy, loyal to the number 22 in Rob Ackley. Hayden Pastorius there with Casey Shue. Brandon Bernhardt alongside Timothy Johnston, as Johnston's 3-wide maneuver would have had a short-term gain, but a long-term loss might be imminent as he gets a bit high. Nicholas Cohan does, and the 82 will have to keep on pushing regardless of what happens. Riding aboard with the driver of the number 82 machine, this is from Timothy Johnston's USAA Chevy Camaro, and you can see Johnston making his move. He's got Cohan right there. Brian McFerrin going to be in the mix in the Ford Mustang number 7, and the 3 wide, about 3, 4, 5 rows deep. We're trying to get a better angle of it. As you can see, Kevin McGarvey there in the orange and blue. Cal Filarski holding on. But from there on out, it dissipates and it becomes more of a single file showdown. We'll take the ticker away for just a moment to highlight this point. You can see past drivers like Filarski, past drivers like Jacob Fife, it becomes a single file train. And it looks like Brad Patton and Blake Gordon, the last drivers of which were still there. And it does not look like it's Blake Gordon. Gordon will not be racing for the next few events as he's away from the real world in terms of his sim racing equipment. And you can see the 83 machine of Daniel Foss as a hole open there. Will Johnston take it? It looks like that he will not. He'll stay up high and try to keep his drivers up there happy as they come down to the strike this time by Rob Ackley. Still would be one of those leaders, but it's not guaranteed whether or not Anthony DeBarro would try to clear him. Now it looks like we're going to have a bit of an issue there. It's going to be a big issue, much bigger than we anticipated. Nicholas Cohen around. Multiple cars going to be there. Jonathan Gearvon, and it's going to be Brandon Wenger. Cautions out. That's your first wreck. And that got much bigger as it went on, and I do believe that one of the first causes was the man in that number 18. Now, Cody Smith might have got off better than what we expected, but he certainly had damage. We'll take a look back to the culmination of events that led to this one. I do believe the 88 might have been one of the catalysts here. And let's take a quick look with a closer drone shot, and it looks like Wenger there, and it looks like Smith going to get into Cohan, and that's when things kick off. You can see Kevin Matz in the wings, and it's going to be Shane Ewing himself getting in there, and it's going to be Nicholas Cohan, one of those drivers who gets big damage. Take a look at a slower speed once again. Kevin Matt's going to hit Wenger. Wenger almost goes all the way around, flies on top of the 73 of Kyle Cooper, and it's going to take out our debutant of the 59. Shane Ewing is already retired from this race as multiple drivers out of there. Boomer Logan has damage. Karen Beto going to be having a major slide in the grass. That's the 59 machine. And Boomer Logan there. Going to be Nicholas Cohan down and around. Shane Ewing done for the night. and he's already on pit road as we speak, and Brandon Wenchard in the 88 with a Dale Earnhardt throwback. Well, it looks like he will not be able to continue the success we've seen with that good wrench number 3 tonight. It's going to be down to pit road to fix that damage as Anthony DeBarro leads in Talladega. And 8 laps out of 88, a bit of a short run to get this one started as we come down to pit road for the first time, and it looks like the good majority of the field will come in, and that's just to play it safe. You want to make sure your tires and your fuel are all topped off as drivers come down to pit lane for the first time. It's going to be the 27 leading them all in, and then behind them, Rob Ackley, Hayden Pastorius, and the like. As you can see, drivers with damage already there. It could be Shane Ewing, could be a guy like Kyle Cooper. Brandon Wenchard absolutely has to get there as well, and now every driver going to be able to pull in, and this is going to be the first race off pit road, and it might be the least impactful to your race finish. So these guys just want to make sure they get a good in, good out stop. DeBarro going to be able to beat Ackley only just as they all fly out. Going to be DeBarro, followed by Ackley, Pastorius, Thomas Bresci, then going to be Casey Shue, followed by Brandon Bernhardt, then Brian McFerrin, Timothy Johnston, Matthew Thunderst, Alec Daffin, Daniel Foss, Braxton DeWeese, and then going to be Alan Dobbs and Gael Brooks rounding out your top 15 off pit road. The man who led in is the man who leads out. That's Anthony DeBarro out in front here in Talladega. 8 laps in out of 88. And that's the first run we've seen all night long. Expect a lot more racing where that came from. As you can see already, stack-ups are becoming a major issue. Now, stack-ups in racing are more likely than not going to happen at tracks where drivers are closer. Talladega, one of which, and that's exactly why you saw that incident unfold as quickly and as extremely dangerously as it came together. At a track where it was a bit more dispersed, like where we'll be tomorrow night with the Octane Series, that's going to be at a place, well, Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway. It would not be as big as it looks like Anthony DeBarro going to get a speeding penalty off pit road, a black flag to the driver, the number 27, end of line penalty to the number 27. DeBarro sliders the machine, slides to the back of the pack here. Rob Ackley is your new race leader, and he'll be able to usurp that first position once again. Now this is going to leave Hayden Pastorius in a precarious position. He is the leader of his line. Now he won't have to push any longer, and it is a challenge. If you don't have a good pusher behind you, might be in trouble as a driver. Pastorius won't have to worry about the responsibility of pushing, but he'll have to trust the man who's behind him. Now, as it stands, Brandon Bernhardt looks to be that driver who will be behind him, and that is only if he chooses to stick with him and not take it 3 wide or merge to the inside line, whatever he chooses. Well, it's all up to the jurisdiction of the number 81 machine. Whatever he says, whatever he does, it appears to be the law, as it's up to the drivers behind the leader to make a line function. Very rarely, seldom do we see any driver make it work on their own at a track such as Talladega. Now, we saw it a bit at Atlanta in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. At the end of the day, drivers who tried that, it did not work out for them, and Atlanta is not the super speedway that Talladega and Daytona are in many ways, and that is just one of those ways. 9 laps going to become 10 laps in out of 88 here from Talladega. Double file already, and it's going to be Rob Ackley there with Hayden Pastorius, and then Thomas Bresci with Brandon Bernhardt. Casey Shue going to be in the mix. Brian McFerrin going to be in position as well. He's going to be in position number 5. A great spot to be in the early going, as he just has to ride out in front for a better chance to avoid wrecks. Now, wreck that we did see happened with drivers that were running up front, such as Kohan, Cody Smith, and the like, but that's because that 3-wide grouping fell behind and lost pace. Now, Timothy Johnston is the big beneficiary from that aggressive maneuver. He's in 8th right now, 10 laps in, so he was able to get away with a lot of stuff in that running. But as it stands, it does not appear that it will work out to get him to the lead. He'll have to stick with the inside line or make a desperate move up front immediately, get himself back on the Renegade train, and fight once more for his life up on the high side. So as it stands, he will not do just that. For Joe's tuning in for the first time tonight, I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast through and throughout. David Kreutz, I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast and presentation as the Integrity Night Series hits Talladega for the first time this season. The Splash and Go graphics 2, 3, 4. If you enjoy the action, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Every single piece of support means the world as we continue to chase 1,000 subscribers. We've gotten very close this year already, and it means the world to have every single one of you watching whenever we go live on FGN. We're hoping to providing content 7 days a week on iRacing NR 2003. If you love simulation racing, I'm sure that we love it as much as you do, and we will continue to provide high quality content live on FTN no matter how we can put it together. It's all for the viewers here, and if you can, click that like button and subscribe. It's a click, it's free, you get unlimited chat access. Everything means everything here on YouTube, and your support is everything to us. Rob Ackley going to lead him in this time by Hayden Pastorius. Knows he's got one great driver right beside him here in the plate racing thing. And let's see if these guys will get an equal start. This time by going to restart number 1 tonight, led off by Rob Ackley. Let's go racing once again here from Talladega as they pass on the Geico restart zone. The green flag's out once again. As it stands, Hayden Pastorius gets that edge on the high side, but of course we saw that with Anthony Navarro, and it did not work out for him at the tail end of that run. He was able to put himself into first for only a moment, but got a bit antsy on pit road, and it now looks like Hayden Pastorius immediately goes out of the inside line. He wants that lead, and he wants it now, and he's the first driver to bite on that inside line. He takes up the offer, and it's going to be a call that beckons him, and it takes him down to the apron almost as they come down to the strike this time by the 19 machine. Leads your number 22, and out in front they all roll as Pastorius holds himself with Brandon Bernhardt there in second. Rob Ackley going to be in third. As you can see, one driver falling back just a bit in that number 33. That's going to be Jonathan Giervan there as Kevin Matz gets by him. Chuck Sweeting does as well. The 33, the only driver up high, tried to make it happen, and he will fall to the wayside as a punishment. And of course, it looks like no other driver going to go with him there, so that's going to be to his detriment. As so far, 35 drivers on the lead lap, 12 laps in of 88, 3 retirees as is Cohan, Ewing, and McQuistion. As it looks like McQuistion did not take the green flag or did not get involved in that incident in the same capacity. Unfortunately, 3 out already, as this is going to be a race of attrition the way it looks thus far. It's going to be Hayden Pastorius, though, out in front, 19 machine, 12 laps in, as it's Rob Ackley there in second, pushing as hard as he can on that number 19 machine, and he is loyal to the inside line, as loyal as one can get, and it seems like his loyalty to the line is more important than loyalty to the lead right now, as Brandon Bernhardt goes up high, and he's going to be able to make it fly, as he now leads for only a moment. Ryan McFerrin going to be right there with him. Thomas Bressie sees that he has the Matthew Thunders machine right beside him here. So a lot of competition and competitive racing already as a double file contains some of the best drivers to do it here in the Integrity Racing League. It's going to be Braxton Weiss side by side with Timothy Johnston here, and Johnston, the high line crusader, is going to be crusading down the inside line as Crusaders of the high side have now dropped down low, and Braxton Weiss is now higher than the man who was all the way up on that wall for just a moment. The USAA machine keeps himself intact in the 82, and he's now got Todd Thomas right behind him there in 11. Thomas going to be leading the debutant battle here in that number 78. 38 on your screen for tonight's event. We'll get that sorted out, but Thomas, as it stands, has a lot of pace. It is a great race to show up into. Any driver can come home on top at Talladega. Now, that's not a detriment or a takeaway from any driver's skill in this league, but it is a big equalizer. Even if drivers take advantage of everything they can, anyone can come out on top of a big wreck, or a shuffling strategy makes drivers irrelevant as the night goes on. Ryan McFerrin going to be out there in a fourth double file. It looks like almost every row deep thus far as they continue to make their way through Talladega. You can see there is no instance of single file. There is no instance of 3-wide racing just yet. It's all 2x2. And you can see every driver in the field for just a moment. Hayden Pastorius, though, holds himself out in front. Looking down at the back, this is 35th Kyle Cooper, as there are 34 drivers in the main pack so far as they come to lap 15 of 88. Brad Patton going to be there, the driver of the 36, and Blake Gordon going to say that looking Brandon up there, and Brandon Bernhardt now going to be in third, as it looks like the outside line going to be able to hang tough through the corners. Now the 81 knows he has the deficit and the disadvantage in those corners because he's on the high side, less distance, but every time he has the opportunity to make it happen, he goes barreling down through the back straightaway. That time by, he did not get dead even with a man in that number 19 in Pastorius, but he got pretty damn close. So it is going to be all about how these drivers wait for it to come through, as now Bernhardt has the momentum and that surge on the outside line to keep him intact, but Brian McFerrin going to lay off the back bumper, and that is the major difference. If we look at a close-up drone cam courtesy of Fireball Talks NASCAR here, this is Rob Ackley pushing as hard as he can. You look at the rear end shot and look at the distances here. It is evident that Rob Ackley is absolutely closer to the driver of that number 7 machine, and that is the reason these two cut through the air so effectively. Ackley going to be able to make it through with that 19, and even on the inside line, the back straightaway goes to Ackley and Hayden Pastorius, as now the 81 going to be able to battle through as they come down to the back once again for lap 17 of 88. And 19 machine out in front looking nice and clean as we stay green. And it looks like now every driver getting geared up for perhaps a longer haul. And with that being said, it looks like everyone going to be happy about that. Ackley, of course, going to be running in the second spot on the inside line. He will have to wait in tow until a pit stop comes or a yellow flag drops for anything more to happen to him. He seems to be content with riding it out for now. And Hayden Pastorius, of course, happy to be riding it out in front. No better place to be in any race but Talladega. Usually the catbird seat has a better shot at the tail end if aggression comes to shove these drivers away, and pushing coming to shove. Well, that's a big theme of all plate racing. Could happen here in the Integrity Racing League. That we will see as the night goes on. Matthew Thunder's going to be there in 5th. Thomas Bressi is going to be in 6th spot now as the 24 stays on the low line. Going to be Matthew Thunder's in the number 6 in the mix. Nonetheless, the DMG United number 8 has been uniting himself with Brian McFerrin, getting closer and closer lap after lap. And now going to be right there with Braxton Deweese, as it's going to be 4 cars on the outside line with a big gap to Daniel Foss there as they come down to the line, this time by Pastorius holds on, and it's going to be Brandon Bernhardt there just out in front that time through, and logging some laps seems to be the way to go here in Talladega, and the leaders so far, they are sure of it. And now it's going to be Anthony Navarro choosing not to do just that. The number 27 machine up into 11th, and it looks like he's going to take one driver with him. Going to take Forrest Smith there. Will Smith fall back? We'll find out, but now DeBarro using that side draft, and he's got himself right up next to the number 83. Will he be able to slot him this time by? No, he will not. Joe Dinsmore shuts that door, and it's going to be a big slam as Kevin Matt's going to come in as well. Trevor Trago there as well. Forrest Smith files back in. So Kevin Matt's going to see that Anthony Navarro slowly but surely falling back in a very aggressive attempt to keep himself in winning contention. Will it work for now? It looks like it will not, as he goes 3 wide there with Justin Carey. That time by, he'll have to fall back and consolidate as the night goes on. Hayden Pastorius out in front here in Talladega. Rob Ackley going to be in 2nd, and it's going to be Thomas Bressi, seeing that now the outside line is dissipating just a bit. It could be that momentum lost thanks to what happened beforehand. As you can see, 3 wide is becoming a big thing with Anthony DeBarro once again leading the charge, but the momentum is getting shifted, and it's not getting shifted to that outside line. That inside now has a multi-car length advantage. As you can see, Pastorius has a big edge out in front, about 3 or 4 car lengths, as DeBarro now has help from Brad Patton, but nobody else going with him on the high side. Kevin McGarvey considering it, contemplating it, but he will choose not to. And now 3 wide is only going to be in the back of the pack, but Brad Patton has to choose to consolidate. Will he? No. And it's going to be DeBarro pushed by the number 2 machine, as now we have Justin Carey going there, and we might have a 3 wide pack forming. But it's going to be reconsolidated once again. The 59 machine going to be there in the mix, and it looks like that 59, despite the damage for Carson Badel, going to be fighting on no matter what, and keeps himself in the mix so far. A commendable run for the driver of that number 23, now 24th spot in the 59, as Justin Carey right there, and now Brad Patton making something happen with the driver of that number 27, the DeBarro Sliders machine with the sponsorless number 2, and it's going to be Brad Patton still looking for sponsors as much as he can offer, of course, and Patton's had some very great runs in this series, in this league so far in the Integrity Racing League. One of those drivers to watch out for as the season comes to a close, and as we see yet another plate race. And the Octane Series came just short at Daytona, so he is not one to mess with. And if he looks for sponsors, and if anyone's looking to sponsor, he might be one of those drivers to keep an eye out on. It's going to be Anthony DeBarro in that number 27 with Joe Dinsmore, the 95, side by side. And DeBarro now back up into the top 15 as it looks like Trevor Trago going to be taken on with Jacob Fife here. So your league owner, the number 36 machine, has Trago in his hand. And now he's going to go down to the middle and lead the 37 out to drive. Will Cody Griffin go for it? That time by, he won't. So the outside line going to get hanged out once again. It's going to be hangout as they get hung out, and Justin Carey in the number 21 machine up high with now Braxton Deweese leading that triple lane, and he'll be up on that third line of three as they come to lap number 22 of 88. Now, Next Level Racing, a big partner of this league, so since we'll have just a bit of time here as they are logging laps, we'll have our Next Level Racing quarter of the race break, and we will be right back. Gotta thank Next Level Racing for high quality sim racing performance equipment since 2009. Visit Next Level Racing for more information. We will return after these brief messages. And as we come back, the storm is on. Forget about the calm. Thank you to Next Level Racing. As Braxton Deweese takes it to the next level, he led lap time by at the start-finish line, and he used that three-wide momentum perfectly. We'll take an instant replay, 50 seconds back to check out how he did it. And you can see on that high side, using the momentum, the Jeff Schmidt, number 15 of Braxton Deweese, goes to the front of the board for the first time. That's your Next Level quarterway moment. Thank you to Next Level Racing and their support in the Integrity Racing League as we get back to the action. Deweese led it that time by with a perfect move down to the middle lane. And as we go back to the lap in question, you can see a dead even position he's in right now to what he was lap time by. Will he get the lap? It looks like the 15 does. And Hayden Pastorius is going to be right there with Anthony DeBarro side by side for the lead. 24 laps, going to become 25 in out of 88. Next time by, but here we go again as 24 out of 88 led by the driver of the number 15 through, and now Hayden Pastorius on the inside line has that edge as it's 3 wide for the race lead, double foul a bit of the way back, and this could be the most aggressive we've seen it all night long, with aggression picking up and the levels of tension may be rising here. It could be all about who plays it in the back of the field. As you can see, drivers are beginning to back off. We do have a big pack of about 10 to 15, 20 drivers. But if we look further back, Chuck Sweeting going to be leading the second pack here. He's got the number 75 machine with Guyo Brooks in tow. In the 71, Carson Bader going to be there as well. And the second pack not as stacked as they're 3 wide out in front. And this could spell disaster if one thing went wrong for any driver in this pack. Even if it happens to the final driver set in this pack, it could affect a second, and that would take a lot of drivers out if it became a very, very big issue. So we will see whether or not that turns out to be the case, as Braxton now holds on out in front, double file with the number 19, and DeBarro still trying to make it work up high, although so far losing more and more time as momentum has shifted, and now it shifts once again. Braxton going to be able to go down to the inside line and leads the race with a commanding drive down to the inside from the out, and the triple file racing benefits one. Deweese out in front, and the Jeff Schmidt number 15, and Pastorius going to be right in tow, and Pastorius pushing the life out of him here. And this could be a move for the driver of the 19 himself. Could he go up to the high side to try to get with Thomas Bressie here? We saw them work together before, but it looks like right now, maybe that's not the case. You find help wherever you can take it at Talladega, and right now that seems to be the case. No driver moving for some driver in specific. Teams are broken up for the most part here tonight, and even though we have major teams in this league, such as Domination, Intimidation Racing, it looks like the intimidation done by the independents, as Braxton out in front with Hayden Pastorius there in second, and Thomas Bressie in the third spot. It's going to be Casey Shue now in fourth in the number 4 machine, followed by 213 Simwar, as Brandon Bernhardt's there in the 6th spot. Alec Daffin going to be in 7th, and Alex had some great runs back to back as of recent. Okayama, not what he wanted, a top 15 result nonetheless. So look at a rebound just a bit here as he comes out of the line, and once again the entirety of the field is going to make it so, and make it 27 out out of 88. And this is a run that we've been hoping for. It looks like these guys are ready to log some laps and get in patiently, as it looks like double file now. Out in front is the move, led by the driver of that number 15. And this is what you love to see, patience and aggression all at once. And Braxton absolutely had to be aggressive to get down to that leading position, but did it with calculation and did it with a great drive. Is now Brad Patton and Anthony DeBarro are out in front on their lonesome on that third lane. Jacob Five coming up with Ford Smith, and it looks like those who founded this run up high are the only drivers sticking to it. Coming down 3 wide once again, Brad Patton is all over the driver of the 27, looking on board with the number 2. And you can see how close Brad Patton is to that rear end of the number 27 Supra. He is oh so close, and it might be too close for comfort, but that's what you need to win a race here in the Integrity Racing League and the Ignite Series as well, especially as you can see the number 15 now going to be led by Thomas Bressi. Bressi's your new race leader, and it's going to be the 15 right behind him. So Thomas drops from the middle down to the inside, and it could be DeBarro dropping himself down to the middle, and it's going to be Brad Patton in the wall there. Will DeBarro go? It looks like that he chooses to. It's going to hang Brad Patton and like out, as now they're going to get stacked up on the middle. Casey Shue not going to be happy. Goes down there for clean air for only a moment. He's going to fake it, think better of it, and keep himself in tow. It looks like it's all about patience here in Daytona, as there's going to be only 3 drivers up high. They're going to be 3 wide, 3 rows deep, but only for just a moment. It's absolutely ready to fade out for some of these guys. As you can see, 1 lap car going to be in their way very, very soon, and that looks to be the driver of Kyle Cooper. Cooper goes down to the apron, and Talladega, one of the great tracks in one sense that only at Talladega can you run full throttle on the apron. You'll be slower, yes, but you won't lose all too much time, especially with the damaged state of that Kyle Cooper machine. He is now 2 laps down, and he's going to be passed by the entirety of the field, including Trevor Trago there in 34th. So it's going to be the number 73 Machina losing all that time, and Kyle Cooper 35th in the board, down to the inside once again if they pass him, as only Brandon Wencher, the driver who is not on the track, who is not retired. Still, we roll out in front. 24 going to be up on that high side, going down to the low. It's Exalta on Exalta out in front, and they'll come down to the straight with the 24, having the edge on the 19. And as we say that, I'm going to have to think twice about that. The number 19 for Exalta gets out in front, and he's exalting all the force he has in that number 19 Chevrolet Camaro. He's got a great pusher in Anthony DeBarro there, and Rob Ackley. Don't forget about him. Now, I'm going to have to be honest there. I think we did for a moment, but that 22 is still 3rd on the inside line, and he still has a great spot in 7th here. So when push comes to shove, he's got great drivers such as DeWeese and Bressi in front of him, and this could be a night to prove that he is a super speedway ace of this series. It come down to him as they come down to the start-finish line once again. 3 wide, going to be out in front. Jacob Fife is pushing the life out of Brad Patton, but it's going to be a lifeless effort for now, as he's not able to get up to leading 3 just yet. Oh, so close, but no cigar that time by. Bressi leads. Astorius going to be there in 2nd, and Brad Patton now is going to be able to make his way into 3rd, and just in time for the festival, as 31 laps in of 88, he's going to be able to make it. So coming down to the inside line, it looks like it's going to be 1 driver in Pastorius just a bit, as side drafting moves more and more important. And how do we ride on board with the man at number 24 machine on the rear end? Or how do we do it with Hayden Pastorius? He'll be a better example of what we believe in. So what we believe in here is side drafting. You can see he goes down to the inside just a bit compared to DeBarro, tries to get that air off of Ackley and off of Braxton DeWeese. And as they come off into the straightaway once again, he's side by side with Ackley. DeBarro is, but you'll see that Braxton DeWeese gets caught up to by the man in that number 19, and now going to be side by side with a minor edge on timing and scoring. And there he is, quarter panel to quarter panel, and this could be a more visual example, but it looks like Braxton DeWeese continues to pull away just a bit. Thomas Bressi, how we look off from him, and looking at that rear view, the driver of the number 24, been out in front for a good majority of this one, and Braxton DeWeese goes into the middle there, and he's going to be able to take that lead for just a moment, and now it's going to be the inside line losing a lot of momentum, and that's what happens to your cornerstone player. Moves out of line, and he moved with force. DeWeese now going to be out in front, and he is now going to be logging those laps from the first position. Lead him down to lap 33 out of 88 here as he takes him in. Once again, you can see they're 3 wide behind him, but it's going to be Braxton all out in front on his lonesome, and he makes it there right in front of Thomas. Bressy slides out and slides back in, and he is not playing any games with these drivers in the Integrity Ignite Series. He has lit the fuse himself, and he will be leading lap number 33's entry. Will he lead him down to 34? That remains to be seen. 33 laps in out of 88 here in Talladega. Brad Patton, one of those guys who's up there on that 3-wide charge, and now it looks like this movement is falling into shambles. Not what he wanted to see, of course, having a great run in that number 2, and he'll have to wait for another day to get that thing back out in motion, as now going to be passed there by the number 78 of Todd Thomas. He'll try to slide in as he has an open hole, but it looks like the 78 machine's going to close it, and that's a strategic decision that might have not been intentional, but it was on display. At Talladega, sometimes slowing you down will give you more position, and we mean that. Todd Thomas, he had that gap over for Brad Patton, but he slowed down at the right time, took up all that space, and now Patton's going to be sent to the wayside with Jacob Pfeiffer right there. So 88 machine going to be off the track, but the 78 using lines and using time effectively and buying himself some time out in front with the leaders. Now he's going to be 12, and he has now made a major disconnect for those on that third line. They're losing more and more time as it looks like Todd Thomas makes it so. The perfect decision there. Timothy Johnson now right in front of him, and Johnson knowing a thing or two about running on that high side, and he knows that it sometimes leads to disaster as Jacob Pfeiffer and the like fall further and further back. They're now double file with Justin Morton, your fastest driver in practice, trying to take the test here and go all the way up high with Boomer Logan, though it looks like once again we go double file and continue to log some laps here at Talladega. Anthony Navarro going to be in third position right now. Casey Shue there in a fourth. So single file going to be out in front for the first 2 drivers. It looks like now Pastorius has that edge over Braxton. And with that being said, going to be a bit of a wiggle for Alan Dobbs. Does he hold on to it? That he does with ease. So no big worry thus far for any of these drivers. As you can see, Rob Ackley makes it so. Going to be now 3 wide. Brandon Bernhardt, Alan Dobbs, and Alec Daffin. And Daffin's made his way up into the 7th spot. That's the highest position he's ran in all night long. And now Daffin has had some great runs, as we mentioned, looking to bounce back here, and a strong super speedway driver. And we know that from our experience of broadcasting. We saw him in the Stock Car Racing League Red Line Truck Series, and he was able to come home in position number 1 in qualifying at Daytona. Led a lot of laps, so he was able to log them through, but he got caught up in a late race wreck, and unfortunately, that's what did him in. He had that win almost in the bag for the first 40-odd laps, but it all fell to shambles. And now he'll have to pick up the pieces here in Dega, and he'll have to make sure that he has just what he needs to make it to the stripe this time by. It's going to be a whole different ball game with these Xfinity Series machines as Pastorius holds on with Braxton DeWeese. And we'll look back to the field once again. How about we checking the guys in the real way back of it? Boomer Logan, it's going to be Nick Tarbuck and Carson Beadle. Now, Beadle, despite all the damage he had beforehand, still seems to be rolling strong here, and he's right behind the Trevor Trago machine, and it's evident these two are absolutely working together here. They are teammates with that same paint scheme for Beadle Designs, and it's going to be smoke there, no wreck, so we'll keep on going, and we'll look closer with our close-up drone shot. You can see that number 59 at Carson Beadle has a bit of an issue with that front end. He's going to be down on power, but he's going to be able to keep himself in the draft. Now, as a driver with some experience in these machines, and Cody Smith's going to have some big damage there. He goes 1 lap down that time by. As a driver with experience in these machines at Daytona and Talladega, when you get a crumple on the hood of an Xfinity car on iRacing, you are a parachute. There's nothing more that you could do, and you want to hold on to that draft for dear life. He goes up for clean air that time by. He's got Trevor Trago right there with him, and thankfully, in his case, not in mine, in my experience, he's had teammates, but it looks like it's going to be a big green flag pit stop cycle. Drivers going in at once, 3 wide entering, and it's going to be Anthony Navarro all the way in the grass. He's going to try to keep himself together. They all come in coordinated besides one, and then now going to be a big group out in front, single file. As a good majority of the field comes in, Navarro's going to be able to get himself back out. Braxton DeWeese leads the guys in, and we'll see who leads the guys out. So we'll check back on the incident as our first green flag pit stop comes with some moments, as it's now going to be the driver of the 27 coming down to the stall this time by. Is he coming out? No, he's coming in. This will lose him a lot of time and a lot of pace, as the first man out is going to be the driver of that number. Looks like a lap machine in Kyle Cooper, but it's going to be Braxton Weiss leading Timothy Johnson and Thomas Bressie, Hayden Pastorius, Casey Shue, Todd Thomas, Brad Patton, Jacob Fife, Brian McFerrin, and everyone's in. It looks like it's going to be the driver of that number 15 leading them through. The number 81, Brandon Bernhardt has not gone in, but Anthony Navarro going to be the first man involved in this, and Alan Dobbs comes in that time by. Justin Morton going to shoot in. It looks like Justin Carey misses his pit stall there. They're all going to come in without incident. This pack by. Braxton Weiss will be the man who leads the race. If he gets just a good enough lap, everyone's gonna be nice and smooth this time by. The focus on the number 15 to barrel in. He's got Johnston right behind him. They're gonna have to run the lap of their lives here. Case and Beadle gonna be the man out in front as they come down to the start finish line. This time by, Beadle is in the lead. He's got Rob Ackley, the next man out, and it's gonna be Ackley indeed right there, as it's gonna be Alan Dobbs leading Brandon Bernhardt. Bernhardt gonna come out second in his pack with Alan Daffin. Then it's gonna be the driver of the number 27 to DeBarro, a lap down. Then Don Stevenson, Chuck Sweeting there, and it looks like this second pack out in front for now. Is it going to last? It looks like it might not. We'll ride with the number 15 machine, taking them as fast as he can, and they're already about full speed on that apron here, so watch out as they come through. It's going to be the 15 machine looking, but it looks like it's going to be Alec Daffin, your race leader, with the drivers on clean cars at the very least. So Daffin there, but does he have the speed to make it so? Thomas Bressie does, and Bressie goes for the race lead, and the Jeff Schmidt 15 still right there with him. And as we get settled in once again, we'll take a quick moment to see what happened with our only incident on the night on pit road. The 81 machine of, it looks like, now the 27 machine of that Anthony DeBarro driver. Well, he's still there in the pack, but he loses an awful lot of time. Bernhardt passes him at the same time that we mentioned, and we will check in once again. He was there with the pack, making it nice and smooth. This is about the lap before. It appears maybe just a bit beforehand, maybe just a bit after. It looks like it will be. So this is the entry that we are focusing on here. So take a quick look and see. Everyone comes in, and it looks like he gets shunted in by Rob Ackley, and he is just about a bird without feathers, a dart without feathers, what have you. He goes almost around, and he's able to save it nicely. A respectful save, not going to get anyone else involved, but losing a lap in the process. He will need a caution to get himself through, as Braxton Weiss leads lap number 40 out of 88. And this race has been packed with strategy. No driver has taken that strategy better than the driver to the number 15 so far. DeWeese out in front. It's going to be, of course, Thomas Bressie there in second. Timothy Johnson going to make it 3 abreast for a moment with Pastorius and Alan Dobbs, as now 3 abreast up front with Casey Shue and Thomas Bressie. The number 15 of DeWeese are going to be able to hold on. Position number 1. He's going to be in the fun as he comes down the backstretch that time by. In the lead, he has about a car length in front, and everyone in this pack seems to have been able to recover besides the final 10 or 15. Rob Ackley, 24th. He has some front end damage from that incident. Kevin Matz falling off the pace. Cal Filarski there. Jonathan Girvan, Boomer Logan, Alan Rowell, and Carson Beadle has now fallen back as the caution comes out this time by, and it's a big wreck with the leaders. And we'll check out what just happened as we have a caution number 2 on the night. Let's find out just why. And this one's going to involve the number 84 machine of Florida Smith, but we'll see whether or not he is the cause of it, and that he is not for certain. Something happened right in front of him. So we'll take it back once again to the DeBarro's number 27 machine from bad to worse here, and it looks like Hayden Pastorius got wiggly on his own, and that is the air that's going to take him around, and he just loses it all on his lonesome. And we'll take a look inside that cockpit to find out what in specific happened, as it is the driver of the 19 machine in Hayden Pastorius involved in this wreck. So as we get that on board going, Pastorius is absolutely not going to be happy about this one, and he's going to lose an awful lot of time as he looks to just have lost it on the air. And trying to correct it, but it just gets from bad to worse indeed. Then you're going to get into Anthony DeBarro. That's going to be his night from bad to worse. He got the caution he needed, but at what cost? Well, the cost of his race. Stevenson, Tarbuck going to be Brian McFerrin, then Matthew Thonor's going to be there as well. Kevin McGarvey going to be able to navigate it through, but it looks like a good majority of these drivers in the mid-pack get involved. Trevor Trago comes into the scene. Carson Beta going to be saved. Don Stevenson is all but done. The front and the rears are ripped off, and about halfway into this race, we see our second caution of the night. How about that? Casey Shue going to be out in front, and it looks like he'll come down to pit road once again with Braxton Weiss, Brad Patton, and the like. So the good majority of the field going to come in once again for their second pit stop, and actually going to make that their third, but it's going to be a second under yellow. So Brad Patton going to be able to stay out in front. And as we have just a bit of time live on FTN, we'll take you to a brief Fireball Talks nonstop before the action gets going once more. You won't miss a thing live on FTN. We will be right back. The cars are going to be on your screen, and you won't miss any of the action. We'll be back before we go green.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We got to thank all our partners for these advertisements as we get back at it live on FTN. That was Fireball Talks Nonstop. Now let's get back into the show here as Brad Patton holds on out in front of Jacob Fife, Alec Daffin, Forrest Smith, and Alan Rawell. New top five. 44 laps in out of 88. This has been the halfway marker, so let's get back at it once again, as it seems like this time by Stevenson going to stay on the circuit with that major damage. See how long that car can last. Certainly going to be a bit of a challenge there. The cross flags lave next time by, and then the Splash and Go graphics 234. We've made it just about 117 miles from here on out. We got about 117 to go to make it 234. And we got to thank Splash and Go Graphics as well for hopping on board for tonight's event as our title sponsor of this race in the Integrity Ignite Series. For those watching, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed the action, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. According to our analytics, about half our viewers do subscribe and return, so that's a great thing to see, but we'd love to have 100% of you along for the ride live on FTN. If you watch week after week, no reason not to. Unlimited chat access. We'd love to hear what you have to say. This is Fireball Talks NASCAR, FTN Live, and we got to thank you all for your support. If you want to join the action, be sure to scan our QR code on screen right now or join our Discord server at the link below to get all inside access Fireball Talks NASCAR YouTube channel as you know it. Every link, every time we go live on our partnered servers, all in one place. Gotta thank you all for the support on tonight's broadcast as we get back to the action once again. Half this race down, half this race to go. And the iRacing official pace car going to lead him down and in this time by. Going to be a second restart on tonight here in Talladega. Going to be Brad Patton leading with Jacob Fife and Alec Daffin. Going to be some guys staying out on that older run. Some guys came down pit road. Good majority of them came down that time by. Will the gamble pay off? We will wait and see. Let's get back at it. Cross flags are waving green once again from Talladega. And now going to be a few drivers going up high already. Alan Rodwell going to be there with Jacob Fife and Brad Patton. Alec Daffin out in front with Casey Shue there in second. Forrest Smith going to be in third. But look at this. Thomas Bresci already forming up on that low line. He's going to be in fourth as is. And gaining spots as you can see. That 24 is on the journey to get back out of front. And he seems to have what he wants. And that's going to be a podium position. He wants that victory though. And he will not be deterred. And he will not be denied. The number 24 going to go down on the inside line. This time by with Todd Thomas there in mix. And it's going to be Casey Shue. And third as Bravo, Fife, and Brad Patton fall further and further back as it stands. Going to be 33 drivers in the lead lap. Last of which going to be Cody Smith and Don Stevenson. 31 going to be in the main pack. Now make that a total of just about 27, as it's going to be Justin Carey, the final man, holding on to that leading group, and he's going to be able to hold on nice and smooth. Daniel Foss is a bit of draft, but I don't think it would be enough to qualify him in that leading pack just yet. Todd Thomas going to be able to make himself into the top 5 here, a debutant, and he's learning the ins and outs of this league and gaining trust, the big thing that we mentioned in plate races. He's doing just that, and he's done a great job so far. Nice clean race and a very responsible driver for Todd Thomas to make his way in the Integrity Racing League. We'd love to see it, and you would see that number 78 does have Integrity Racing League put decal on that windshield. Now you can notice that's a bit different from everyone else, and that means that Todd Thomas is not a newcomer to this league, but a newcomer to the Ignite Series. So certainly a change of pace for him to be running Xfinity cars with a bit of a different group of drivers, but still, as it is, it seems like he'll be good to go for the night. And what he's accustomed to, it seems like it is working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Todd Thomas, a veteran of the Integrity Racing League, showing his skill as he's now out in front in third, and he makes it high just a bit. We'll see whether or not Forrest Smith budges, and Smith has some damage. Looking at a close-up shot once again, that number 84 has a bit of wear and tear on it, so Forrest might have to keep an eye out for that as he comes down to the stripe this time by. He is out in front, granted, but it seems like he has a bit of an issue on that front end that might deter him if he falls anywhere further than this first place. Right now, though, he's in the place to be as Alec Daffin trying to make it so on the inside line, and he takes him there, but not going to be able to take much of it as Daffin holds on strong, going to be able to keep himself on that inside line, and down the back, he's all the focus as Forrest Smith gets that momentum, and the change in airflow, it's so evident as we look closer and closer to these guys with our cameras. And now, going back to the TV shot, Forrest Smith takes him by storm and goes down to the inside line. He's your race leader overall with a commanding run here, 48 laps in out of 88. And it'll be 40 laps to go next time by here in the Integrity Racing League. Jacob Fife going to go all the way up to the high side, and those who were running up top earlier have fallen all the way back. It seems like they might be waiting out for something later. They could be falling back intentionally. It could just not be there when it comes to pace, as it's Todd Thomas back out in front, and what a way to come back for the driver of that number 78 machine. Todd Thomas, a way to go here, and he's going to be out in front from Talladega, and what a way it would be to get himself back in the swing of things here in the Integrity Racing League and the Ignite Series. Coming home first in a returning race, that's something you'd love to see, as that number 78 machine with a throwback to drivers such as Elliott Sadler and the earlier days of Ryan Seeger Racing, when they had multiple drivers hopping in and out of that car. It was a very, very transformative time for them. They now operate multiple cars full-time. Ryan Sieg is their flagship driver. But as it stands, the flagship driver up in front, it is Todd Thomas here and it looks like he'll be able to hold himself nice and smooth. Alan Dobbs there in second, and then going to be the driver of Forrest Smith up high in third. Alec Davigan right there with the man in that number 5 spot, and that's going to be Casey Shue. And as they keep going, it seems like there's very little that will stop the man in that 78. Alan Dobbs goes up high, though. He'll try to make something happen with the 05 machine, going way high, 39 laps to do it, and it seems like very little will deter him as it stands. And coming down the back this time by Alan Dobbs, going to be right there with Forrest Smith. That number 78 machine is going to be on the bottom of the 83. Now falling back, the 84. As we mentioned, he's there in 4th, and he is not messing around. It seems like despite what has happened in terms of strategy, he will not be stopped. And while he is on a bit of an older run, that could mean that he'll have to come down pit road a bit earlier if we have one more green flag pit stop. It will all come down to whether or not we do get that green flag pit stop. If we don't, and they all come down in unison, he could have this thing made. As they're double file right now, aggression has dropped to about the all-time low. And even though we've got about 5-10 laps here, almost 10, we have not yet gotten that run that gives the aggression back to the drivers. So with that being said, these guys are going to back off, knowing that we have 38 to do it. You want to get down to that final 10-15 before you really turn the jets on. And it seems like that is the move for each and every driver. As it is, the driver of that number, Todd Thomas machine, the 78, is still right there. And we'll check back just a bit how Brandon Bernhardt and Timothy Johnston, as Jonathan Gearvin makes his way into the lead lap. Now, Boomer Logan there as well. This top 10 area, a lot of drivers meshing in, meshing out, and as they push each other back and forth, it seems like Boomer Logan going to be able to keep himself in tow, although he has just a bit of rear end damage. And Boomer Logan has the driver of the 81 machine of Brandon Bernhardt right in front of him. We'll check in with a closer drone cam to the both of them, and you can see Bernhardt is in front of Logan, and Logan has a bit of a crumpled up front, and so does Bernhardt as they check up just a bit, and they're going to the banking here, and you can see how steep that banking is. It's tough enough to walk on, let alone drive, and that's what gives these drivers the ability to go full throttle all race long. If it was a flat track at this distance, they will be letting off big time, and it will be a whole different change of pace. As you see, a few lap drivers they are catching up to, and that could be Don Stevenson and Cody Smith on the horizon. But as we check up closely to Boomer Logan, he's got a bit of trouble here. We'll see whether or not he's going to be able to dig himself out of this rut. So far, though, he'll keep himself going with very little issue. Alan Dobbs out in front. Todd Thomas pushing him. Casey Shue going to be in 3rd. Forrest Smith in 4th. Thomas Bresci is actually going to be now in the 4th spot. It's going to be Forrest Smith falling down to the 5th. Alec Daffin with Braxton DeWeese here, and a lot of fan support for Braxton DeWeese as always tonight. 36 laps to go, and the 15 having one of his marquee races in the season so far. Certainly looking to get more runs like this. Seems to be very quick in qualifying as they pass both Smith and Stevenson, as I mentioned before, and that's how slow they are compared to the drivers on leading pace. No front end for Stevenson, crumpled front end for the Cody Smith machine, and that is a combination for disaster, and it leads to DeWeese getting by easily and effortlessly with now a total of 35 laps remaining. Forrest Smith going to be right there as well. It's going to be Timothy Johnson in tow. Alec Daffin going strong and going long, as it's still going to be the driver of that number 1 machine, Alec Daffin at 9. For Buffett, it does appear that the number 78 machine is a bit of a different number here. We'll get that all sorted out as the season goes on. Thomas showing up for the first time tonight, so he might not have his number registered in iRacing. Could just not have his number set up to us on the overlay side, so we'll get a word with him, make sure that he has it all set up, because he seems to be a competitive driver. Won't want to miscover a guy like that, as Alan Dobbs still leads them out in front. 34 laps to go next time through. And Brandon Bernhardt were the competitors in the last running of the bracket that we have. A new running of the bracket starts at Talladega, and we will go until about 4 races to go in this season, a 15-race season before our second commences in August. So for the driver of the 81 machine, redemption is on the mind. It was not a great race for him. Last time we had a bracket, it all fell astray at the tail end, and now the 81 machine, who came second last time by, well, he knows that second is the first loser, and he is here to win. Whether or not he can, it all depends on whether or not he gets a solid finish tonight in Talladega. Winning the race overall is just about the only way you can guarantee yourself into the next round. You are paired up with randomized drivers depending on your seeds in the championship standings. you have to face a certain group of drivers, even if they're lower than you in points or higher than you in points. Say, for instance, a 32nd seed, who's 32nd in points, wins the race. He knocks out the first place guy, knocks out the 8th guy, and the 16th guy. That's just an example, a hypothetical, but it could happen, and anything is possible. Last time we had a bracket, it ended at Las Vegas. The next time we have a conclusion to our bracket, it will be at Chicagoland on April 24th. And that's the beginning of our clash, our 16-driver round out of the championship hunt. As you can see, the championship front, not led by Todd Thomas, but he holds on to the race lead as we send into our next level racing 33 to go break. This was going to be our halfway break, but we got a caution there, so we will be right back. Next Level Racing, high quality racing performance products since 2009. Be sure to check out Next Level Racing, and we got to thank them sincerely for their support in the next level of the Integrity Racing League and the Integrity Ignite Series. We will be right back. And that is our second Next Level Racing advertisement break. Out to thank Next Level Racing for their support in the Integrity Racing League, as they always put on great racing. Stem racing done right since 2012. That's the Integrity Racing League, and thankfully, of course, Next Level Racing sees out of them, as tonight has been such a great example. It's been very clean, especially for plate racing standards on iRacing, and double file right now. Every driver knows that logging laps is critical to getting it done. As we begin to ramp it up here, 31 going to become 30 laps to go. Next time through, they barrel down. You can see the stands are packed even on the back straightaway here. A sold-out crowd in the virtual attendance. I've got to thank the sold-out crowd here on YouTube. We could not do it without you. And right now, it looks like Alan Dobbs could not do it without Casey Shue, as he disposes of Todd Thomas there. And Thomas goes up high. Forrest Smith going to be for the taking. And now he's going to have a bit of a draft partner right in front of him as it comes down to the back straightaway that time by. Look at him go. It's going to be now 30 to go this time, as it's going to be the Jeff Schmidt machine of Braxton Deweese, peeking out just a bit. 84's 213 Simware sponsor machine for Forrest Smith goes just a bit high, peaks it there, down to the inside line. The 38, the 78, whatever you want to call him, it is that Nutrien number 38 of Todd Thomas, taking it all in stride, and he has everything. The recipes towards success, it has its nutrients, and he knows how to make it all blend perfectly. He's out in front, 59 laps in, out of 88. And with all these drivers chasing so far, you could see they are not necessarily racing the same way. We saw 3 wide very early on of the going, even up to our halfway caution there. Drivers were using as much of the track as they could. They used the apron, they used that high side, they went down the pit road, they ended up in the grass, they ended up everywhere. But right now, 2 wide, nice, calm, smooth racing, dedicated to making it happen at the tail end, as Brad Patton right now has so much room. You can see as the camera pans in on him, it becomes him and Kevin Matz, and it almost was him and Matz the entire way. That's how wide the room these guys are giving each other is right now. Patton was running so close to the top very early, but now he's got his own room, playing it nice and smooth, knows that running toward the tail end of the race is much more important, and this is a much wider shot. If this was the beginning of the race, this would have just about every single driver in the pack within it, as we look further and further at this oscillating shot. And once again, getting closer to that Brad Patton machine, you can see he has a lot of drivers between him and Justin Carey, and then Jacob Fife. He's in the middle of these guys by a wide margin. As we send it back to our regular cameras, 29 laps to do it. Alan Dobbs still has something going here as they come down to the back. Alec Daffin going to file Todd Thomas out, and Daffin never afraid to be a bit of an aggressor here on iRacing, and the plate racing aficionado he will make it evident and he will make it known that he's one of the best men to do it out here on the circuit. He gets there, 28 laps to go. He's no slouch. Alec Daffin is no slouch indeed. And now he's got a 3-wide bubble there. Todd Thomas does, as Forrest Smith goes 3 on Boomer Logan. Now we see these guys get a bit close. Thankfully, no contact just yet. And they're both banged up drivers as is. Anything more could be a bit of a detriment to the race. Thankfully for the both of them, for their sake, they've been able to run nice and competitive regardless of their sort of handicaps on that machine, as Alan Dobbs slices it down to the inside line once again. Everything playing in the favor of that number 05. And Alan Dobbs, another strong plate racer in the Octane series we saw then, and he now looking to ignite it here as Todd Thomas now has the help from the 84, and it looks like the Fileout Club is far from rejected as they come down to the back once again, and they are looking to get vengeance. The Splash and Go graphics 2-3-4 might come down to a Splash and Go on strategy, as drivers have been up on this circuit for excess of 25 laps now. Some drivers 20, some drivers 24, most of which are in that 20-lap bubble, but some go as high as 25 laps of action here in Talladega. They've gone for it consecutively on this run. It's Nick Tarbuck going to be 29th on the board once again, and Anthony DeBarro 9 laps down. As it stands, a total of 34 drivers are on the track, and it's going to be the 05 machine of Dobbs there in first. Casey Shue in second, Alec Daffin in third. As they come down to the line once again, Daffin getting closer and closer as now he has a major run on the 05 machine. He chooses not to stick with anyone else but the 05, and they come down once more. Cody Smith and Stevenson back in frame. They'll be passed easily by the leaders. And as they come down once again, lap machines down to the inside line, and once again, evidently, it's unfortunate for drivers that got caught up, but that's something you can't fix in the Integrity Racing League. Fast repairs and no-go here, so if you burn it up, you are burnt out. And Stevenson, knowing that rear panel gone, the front panel gone, Cody Smith might have a better situation cosmetically, but it is still a big tear up, and almost like what he had at Rockingham. Forgive me there, I do believe it was Atlanta, as a matter of fact. A bumpy circuit. He got bumped up very late in the going, had a great run going, and then ended up with a crumpled up car, just like that. And while he does not have the major damage in visual sense like Don Stevenson, he's certainly out of luck and out of time to get that thing repaired. 26 laps to go. He will just have to hold on and wait for the next opportunity to go racing and getting a win. Hopefully going to be on his mind. Unfortunate to see two great drivers taken out in a circumstance like that, but that's the way it is, and a race of attrition, and those two will hold on as long as they can with their motors, and they might expire, they might not, the transmissions might fail, anything could go wrong for them, and anything could go wrong out in front. As still double file, Todd Thomas there with Alan Dobbs, and Alec Daffin there in third, but take a look at this. Kevin McGarvey. And I tell you what, this 42 machine impressive tonight as the orange and blue number 42 puts himself in a very close position to those race leaders as he gets closer and closer with 24 laps to go, approaching. He is now one of those drivers to keep an eye out on. Very late in the running, Talladega, you know, when they hit lap number 17, it is go, go, go. No matter what, as 88 laps to do it, we've gotten to the 65th of which, and time it is of the essence, and McGarvey, a bit of a shaky leader on that line, but he still has a lot of speed here. I do not think he's going to fall back too far just yet, and if he does, well, he'll be able to keep himself in the line, as being a line leader is a lot of pressure in its own right, and I do believe this is the first time McGarvey has been in that spot, so we'll give him a bit of time here to adjust and recuperate his losses, although right now it looks like he's able to do so and ricochet his way back out front. Todd Thomas out in front himself as he comes down to the inside line. Once more, that 78 machine. And we trace back a bit of information on him, looking at the information we had at hand on our official Integrity Racing League Discord server. Last match we had a trace of was from about 2021 in regards to the racing. And back then, the Integrity Racing League used these Xfinity Series machines for their championship. Ethan Lane came home with the championship last time they went racing in 2021. Broadcasted by the great Jonathan Oates of OSRL fame. So a lot of history in this league that traces back to drivers such as Todd Thomas. And that 78, I'll tell you what, he's got a lot in store here. As down to the inside line, Alan Dobbs right there with them. Kevin McGarvey going to be in tow, but 23 laps to go, going to become 22. And you know what that means live on FTN. We do it as many times as we can. 22 laps to go, going to be our crackcams22.com Rank it up. Track cams for Gorman. It's the best cameras on the iRacing platform. We hope you enjoy watching them as much as we enjoy using them. For Smith down to the inside line as we will get ready to crank it up this time by as they come down to start finish. 22 to go. We will be right back. And as we are back with 19 laps to go, the man out front now going to be I.L. Brooks as he goes down. Todd Thomas does. And we have our final pit cycle of the night. Going to be I.L. Brooks out in front. It's going to be Alan Dobbs there with the driver of that number 78 machine. That's going to be Todd Thomas. He's going to have Timothy Johnston right there with him. Braxton Weiss going to be in 7th right now. So we have drivers shuffling it in and out. Yet another small group to go in. And this is when pit cycle disparities become absolutely evident. Now it's going to be a single file group out in front. Gael going to be there with Trevor. Carson Bader going to be in 3rd. Joe Dinsmore in 4th. Chuck Sweeting there as well. And you can see that number 84 machine, Hayden, it's actually going to be Hayden Bastores in 19, but it's going to be the driver right in front of him now. That 84 of Ford Smith is going to hold on. Nice and steady. They'll come down to pit road this time. Gael Brooks will. Good majority of the field going to come in. Chuck Sweeting going to stay out now. It's going to be a 3-car gaggle. Now a bit more than that as Trago leads them in for yet another pack. 18 laps to go, and everyone is coming in for their final stop here in the Integrity Ignite Series. And you can see Chuck Sweeting holds on. Thomas Bressie there in 3rd. Hayden Pastor is going to be in 4th. Braxton Weiss in 5th. Cody Griffin 6th spot, and Brandon Bernhardt going to come down to the inside line there. And this is one of the bigger packs. Bernhardt Ackley going to be there. Your pole sitter, Gael Brooks going to be with Cal Filarski. Joe Dinsmore on the way. Trevor Trago. It's going to be the number 71. beating out barely Trevor Trago. It's going to be vice versa now. A great edge there on the 37 machine as Chuck Sweeting has to come in this time by or the next 72 laps in out of 88, and they will come in this time by dropping down to the apron. Sweeting going to go, so it looks like this will be the final driver to come in as the leader to pit road, and no incident on this run. It's going to be Braxton Weiss, the final driver, with Pastorius there. For Smith not in this bunch. It's going to be Chuck Sweeting, Casey Shue, Cody Griffin, and it's going to be Gael Brooks now coming through the back straightaway trying to get right up to these drivers. Gael currently leads them with 17 laps to go. He leads the drivers who have not yet put down a pit stop, or rather, those who have, as those who have not are now led by Thomas Bresci. They will be coming off a pit road any moment now, and it looks like that they are. Chuck Sweeting on his way, 30 seconds spent on pit road for the driver of that number 75 machine. He spent 8 seconds in the pit box, and it looks like the fuel was put down as minutely as it could be. Cody Griffin going to lag back by 3 seconds. He put all the fuel he could in, and it looks like optimizations made by Sweeting. He's out in front, but Johnston going to be there, and he's going to be able to take it right by that number 3. Will he get by Sweeting or Shue or Pastorius? I don't believe this time by he will, but he could have that run coming up very, very soon. Nice edge. Chuck Sweeting out in front. And with Sweeting there in that number 75 machine, the great thing about pitting later is you get to put less fuel in that car, and you might be able to get it down to the 10th of a gallon. And with that being said, that's a big advantage when it comes to your strategy. You'll be able to get a lesser time on pit road, more time on the track, and he gets a very fast pack there with him. He gets 5 drivers with a very similar strategy, and Braxton Weiss goes up to the high side there, one of which. But now the drivers with momentum come. Chuck Sweeting there with Gael Brooks, Todd Thomas there as well, and they're all together again with 16 becoming 15 laps remaining in Talladega. This is crunch time, and this is now prime time, and it's the prime time for Timothy Johnston. Goes out of the inside line, leading Gael Brooks. Todd Thomas stays there, and Alan Dobbs in the mix as well, and every driver going for the taking, and you can see that it's going to be all about where the 38 machine can hold on to here, as it's single file for the good part. Timothy Johnston makes a mean block up high, and he keeps it going. Very nice, very clean, but it's a bit mean as it keeps him going with very little to happen from it. Gonna hang himself on the high side, and momentum persists. It's 4 drivers beating the Goliath of the remainder of the inside line. The David and Goliath situation we see right now, led by Johnston, as the outside line is gaining more and more drivers. It looks like Heather McGarvey getting right there with Justin Carey. They're gaining in slowly but surely. 14 laps to go, and now it's up to Johnston and Dobbs to choose where they choose, of course, to stay. And it seems like, as it stands, the USAA machine stays high. Alan Dobbs goes low, and this is going to change it once again. How about that? Johnston gonna stay on that second groove, but the 78 machine holds on in front. Unbelievable circumstances here. Alan Dobbs on the inside nonetheless, as they come down to 13 laps to go. Baker's doesn't do it, and this could be the formation going into crunch time. 75 laps in out of 88. If you made it this far, you made it just about all the way, but you don't want to end it here. It ain't over till it's over, and when it's all over, you want to know and you want to say that you were there on that white flag lap, giving it your all and not getting caught up with 5 laps to do it. And right now, Trevor Trago goes down to the inside line. He wants that lead on the inside, and that we will get it. And aggression coming back in major strides. The 37 going to be there with Alan Dobbs, and you can see that Johnston keeps himself with a number 78 machine of Todd Thomas there, but the inside line has a bit of momentum edging out on the inside. You can see Jacob Fife keeps himself in it, and side by side they all go. You can see the 82 of Johnston keeps himself there. Alan Dobbs with Jeff Schmitz, number 15. Braxton Weiss, the driver there. And they come down to the line. A triple file going to be once again Brad Patton and Jacob Fife, an old duo, and they're coming back once again to make it happen, and this could be theirs this time by if they make it work. 12 laps to go. We'll take our final Next Level Racing break, and we'll be back immediately. Next Level Racing, high quality sim racing performance since 2009. NextLevelRacing.com for more information. We'll be right back. And as we return with still 12 laps to go here on FTN Next Level Racing, gotta thank them for their partnership with an Integrity Racing League. It means the world to have such a great partner on board. Champion of the Ignite Series and Octane Series will win a full sim rig with a value of $2,000 US. So an unbelievable price given away. Of course, an unbelievable prize offering with a great price as it's Next Level Racing out in front for these drivers. A next level move for Alan Dobbs as we get back to the action with 11 laps to do it. It's going to be a baker's dozen. We passed a dozen as well. And as we said, Jacob Fife and Alan Dobbs, they're now making stuff happen. So is Brad Patton. And with Fife getting that edge on the high side, it could be 3 wide for the race lead. But that it won't be. Trevor Traeger on the inside line losing a lot of time here. So not sure what's going on there. But Braxton Louise takes advantage. Opportunistic, Mr. number 15. And he goes down to the inside. And he now has the 05 in a bit of a bind. Coming down to the stripe, it's going to be Jeff Schmitz 15, Alan Dobbs 05, and Jacob Fife. Welcome back to the Ignite Series. He is back in style, the 36. Now going to be able to take him through as they rush down the inside line. And you can see how hard these guys are pushing, going at about a speed of 193 miles an hour. It's going to be Dobbs in the middle, Luis on the inside, and Jacob Fife with 3 other drivers and 2 right behind him. They're now going to be falling back into about 5th. But he was up there in the lead for a moment. It was almost there for about a half lap. Kept himself on the podium, and he might be able to ring himself a podium finish if all goes well here tonight. Braxton Louise going to be right there on the inside line. The 05 of Alan Dobbs in tow, double file. Now going to be triple file, and it is 3 deep behind him, and it's going to be Louise and Dobbs making it so. 10 laps to do it, going to become single digits this time by, and a splash and go for the drivers up in front, some of which did take less fuel than others, and I don't believe that the weight disparity will be all too much. Fuel, tires, it all comes down to a very equal strategy lane, and that is when it comes down to a track like Talladega. Every move you make, if you come down to that final 9, 8, 7, 6, and so on, whatever you have, well, you're going to have to stick to it, even if it does end up changing with a wreck, with, say, another caution, with a green-white checkered attempt. We could have one. I don't believe we will. This race is gone. But never say never with 9 remaining here. It could be for the number 15, could be for the 05 as they go 3 wide. They're going to give it shoveled here. It's going to be Todd Thomas there. They're going 4 wide for the first time tonight. Cody Griffin down to the inside here, and now they are really getting worked over. It's going to be Todd Thomas getting a bit shifted. That time by one of the wall. Smoke. Jacob Fife saves it. No, they're not going to save it. Are they? Yes, they are. We keep going. Nobody going to be lost, but one driver looks to be Chuck Sweeting there. Sweeting in the 75 machine, going to be the big man out of this one. And we will check with a close-up drone shot here. Find out what happened. And the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. And you can see it looks at the 59, going to get right into him there. And everyone else saves it. He is just the man who has to take the fall for the rest of the field. Very unfortunate. I do believe that he will get the excuse on that unsafe pit exit. Get back out at full pace. But Chuck Sweeting takes the fall for the field. And now, with a total of 8 laps to go, Alan Dobbs holds on strong out in front. The 05 with the 78. Todd Thomas, don't count him out now. And now we're double filing once more. And it looks like that was the final straw on the camel's back. And we come down to it. It's going to be the 05 leading the 7 laps to go. And it now is going to be all about the Trago machine. That number 37 seeing his teammate fall. It looks like his teammate is still going to be able to keep up with the lead pack, but just barely, as Carson Badel has one driver behind him. That's Justin Morton, who we saw at the beginning of the broadcast doing flips up in the air. And incredible gymnastics, but right now the mental gymnastics to stay in this race a bit tougher here. He'll have to have a caution if he wants any shot. They're about 3-4 wide once again. Braxton Louise out of the inside now. They're 4 wide for about 4th. And now it's going to be Gael Brooks up on the high side. The 38 for the taking on that middle ground. And with the 15s out in front with 6 laps to do it. It's going to be Alan Dobbs in tow. Cody Griffin there with Trevor Trago. And looks like Braxton getting willed on by the chat room here. And certainly a proud group of fans for the BDR fan club as the 15 makes it through with 6 laps to go. Down the backstretch, they get a bit antsy, but they always recollect it by the time we get down to the start finish line. Now, I'm sure when we get to that white flag, it will be exactly the opposite scenario. We're not there yet, though. We will find out when we get to that point. 6 laps to do it here in Talladega. Braxton Weiss is out in front in the 15, and you can see now it looks like Alan Dobbs going to try to go out in front. He's almost clear, not clear enough. He'll be able to get close, but no cigar just yet. And the Dobbs machine holding on with very little time to waste. And that number 05 knows that this is what it's all about. Alan Dobbs going to be right there with him, and now going to become 5 laps to go live on FTN. And it's going to be Braxton Weiss who leads them down right to that number. Let's go once more. And the Brad Patton machine right there with Timothy Johnson. They're 3 wide in the back of the pack once again. And Mr. 3, Brad Patton, goes for it once more with Johnston. And it looks like now it's going to be Todd Thomas going. So the drivers who have been running that high line all race long get yet another. And now the middle lane gets slowed down. Cody Griffin goes up to that middle. And Kevin McGarvey now going to be second on the inside line. We talked about him before. And now there's a reason. He talked the talk, but can he walk the walk? As now Cody Griffin goes down on the inside line. He's your race leader. Alan Dobbs there in second. They're 3 deep once again, and Hayden Pastorius back in the action himself. Now, it's going to be about 10-15 drivers in this pack as it stands. 16, now 17 are separated by 0.6 of a second, and it is close quarters here in Alabama. And it's going to be a wreck. Big one. DeWeese going to get spun. It's going to be Trevor Trago, Kevin McGarvey. They're all getting hit, and that's going to be a big incident. The caution's going to wave, and we are going into overtime. And we're going to have to check on that one. Justin Carey involved. Let's check who was a catalyst as the instant replay going to be on its way. Justin Carey, one of those drivers we ought to focus on, and we'll take it with a wider angle shot, half speed replay before we get into the full speed action in a few laps time. And a lot of drivers getting involved, and this could be the last hurrah for some. It doesn't look like a lot of major damage, but still sending us to a green, white, checkered. This will be it. Ackley makes almost contact with Justin Carey. No dice. No, it's going to be Alan Dobbs going up into Trago, going into Todd Thomas, then Johnston, Brad Patton there, and they all begin to spin as a result. The 37 to Trago gets washed out. Braxton Weiss gets rear end damage there, and we'll try to get a further on back look. He holds on. Justin Carey does. Still far from good. It looks like one driver going to get big time involved, not Alan Rawell. Braxton Weiss going to be able to keep it going. Front and rear end damage though. Carson Badel gets right through the smoke. Gael Brooks might have gotten involved. That one was one of the final drivers on that lead pack. And now as they all pack themselves up once again, going to be 2 laps to do it from Talladega. And for every viewer watching, if you got your pick, take it now. It ain't over. So for all the viewers who want to get into the chat room, be sure to leave a subscription on the channel. Stay for just a minute and you will have unlimited chat access. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Alan Dobbs there, Todd Thomas, and now going to be all about the defense. Cody Griffin, your leader, and here we go again. Alan Dobbs stays in second. Do they come down pit road? It looks like no, they will not. Who does? It might be drivers involved in that wreck who do. Rob Ackley chooses not to. Braxton Weiss, he's going to be there in 16th. A bit of rear end damage. It looks like some guy's going to go. Justin Carey does. It's going to be the driver of that number 59, Carson Badel there. Braxton goes in. Drivers involved with the wreck are going to be going in immediately thereafter as Jonathan Gierman going to be elected, or rather promoted, into the top 15. And Cody Griffin going to be having about 2 laps of pacing before we get back to the racing. That number 3 machine knows this is here and this is now. So if that number 3 wants to get that victory, he'll have to make himself known as the night goes on. Matthew Thunder's going to be up on the high side. You can see that Alan Dobbs is there in second, and Kevin Matt's going to be in fourth with Todd Thomas there in third. So some drivers who got afflicted are still up here, and we can take a look at that number 38 machine. You can see the side of that number 38, with the left side especially having a bit of a burn in there, and certainly not going to be a happy camper, the number 38 machine, but it looks like a lot of drivers not too happy. Hayden Pastorius going to be right there on the high side. The Exalta 19 falls back, and a second chance for a lot of drivers, and a final chance used. So it's going to take a major wreck to shovel this one up once again if we get one. 2 laps to do it. And as we have a bit of time here, we will go over our overtime rules for our new viewers if we have any. First off, thank you for stopping by for the first time tonight live on FTN. It means the world to have you. But in addition, here's how overtimes work. Green, white, checkered. So we have one green flag lap, 2 laps to go. So that's going to be, we can get a caution in that period, reset it once again, and then we'll go back at it. I believe a maximum of only 3 times here in the Integrated Racing League. But then we get down to that white flag lap. When we get to the white, that's the final lap. If you have a caution called, then that's the race. And that will be the order of the field frozen. And if we don't get a white flag, caution, well, that's going to be the race no matter what. Absolutely going to be a move of a lifetime for anyone to make it so on that final lap, as we don't expect to have a yellow on that final segment. As we get to it once again, here we go. Cody Griffin going to be out in front. Alan Dobbs in second. Todd Thomas third. Kevin Matson fourth. Hayden Pastorius rounds out the top 5. As we go a bit further back, you see Kevin McGarvey there in 18th. Drivers with damage coming back onto the circuit. Braxton Deweese going to be put about a lap down here with this damage. He's 2 minutes of optional is taken. And looks like Don Stevenson and Cody Smith right there with him. So Deweese opting to take every bit of damage and hope for an incident. It looks like some front end and some rear end is fixed. Maybe a shot for one of the drivers who had a dominating race going up in front. A lot of drivers sharing that dominating role. And now Cody Griffin going to have to put on the Jets. It's not about where you start. It's about where you finish. And he could finish out with the best position, of course, the first position, as we seem to have this one almost in wraps. It's far from over just yet, though. Will it be Cody Griffin or Alan Dobbs? We'll find out. Could Todd Thomas get it back on his run the first time in the 78 machine? Could it be Kevin Matz, Brad Patton, Hayden Pastorius, or could it be a driver in the back of the field? It could be anyone, as 3 laps to go live on FTN. Don't turn the dial, don't change the channel. This is where you want to be on your Monday night, as our first night of action this week brings us an exciting and enticing finish from Talladega, and we are just getting ready to see it as the drivers round the back straightaway once again. Here we go. Griffin going to be in tow. Alan Dobbs there. Todd Thomas, Kevin Matz. And this will be the final time we see the iRacing official pace car without any other incident. They're only going to have to make it one more lap. And then they get to the white, and it will be all official from there. So Cody Griffin, he seems to be out in front. But still, Kevin Matz has the catbird seat. And now it looks like Todd Thomas and Brad Patton round out your top 5 strategy. And all the deliberation and all the trust and all the relationships made on the plate track, it all comes to a head here and now. 90 laps of racing we will get as we extend it. We're on lap 88 as is. And here we will come. The start-finish line, the iRacing official pace car will back off, and it will be the man out in front, Cody Griffin, who holds him on thick and thin as the warehouse design number 3 machine looking to build it all up and take himself down to the checkered as a winner. Let's get it going. Cody Griffin there with Alan Dobbs. Going to be the green flag coming out this time by the Geico restart zone. Going to be on its way. And Cody Griffin going to be one of the men who leads him in. Alan Dobbs is going to be outside of the front row. Let's get back at it. Green flag is going to be out this time by your final restart. It could be your first green flag checkered attempt underway in the Slash and Go graphics. 2, 3, 4. Let's get back to it. And now Cody Griffin has that edge here in that number 3 machine riding aboard for just a moment. Take a look from the lead perspective. And with Griffin there in that first position, he has it by about a car length of the remainder of that pack. He goes up high. He's going to let Todd Thomas go to the inside line. Brandon Bernhardt with damage going to be out in front as well. You could see a good amount of these drivers, even with that crumbled up front end, are able to hold on. Earnhardt on his lonesome on that high side. It's going to be 3 wide. And as they come down the line this time by double file for the most part, they want to make it to the white before they get down to the checkered. Todd Thomas in, and it's going to be Cody Griffin out as Alan Dobbs there with the driver of the 19 machine. They go 3 wide for the second, but they're going to have to ride it in easy as the number 3 machine leads them in this time by with flags out from Talladega. And it's going to be all about what Cody Griffin can do from this point onward. 3 wide there for the second. Anything that goes on from here is official. The race will be over when they come to the checkered. And you can see so far Cody Griffin going to be able to hold on out in front. Big wreck in the back of the pack looks to have been avoided. Drivers still going. You can see Jonathan Given there. A few drivers such as Chuck Sweeting holding on the back as well. And they're all shuffling, but they have not yet made the move. Alan Dobbs going to now block on Thomas Bressi. Bressi wants his first win as bad as he can get it. And he goes out to the inside line. The 24 going to be there. Alan Dobbs going to be in second for a moment. Big wreck. Alan Rommel going to be in it. In the back of the field coming to a head is going to be Thomas Bressi out in front. He's been waiting for this one. Can he get it? Kevin Matz renders rear end. This will be a battle for a lifetime. Bressi on the inside line. Alan Dobbs trying to get the push. Bressi gets turned. Does he make it? It looks like that. He does, and for the first time this season, the driver of the number 24 will get it by 22 thousandths of a second. Thomas Bressi makes it to victory lane, and he does it without hesitation. And he had that thing all the way sideways. We thought he'd be turned, but no. Unbelievable. He gets it done, and we'll check that slow-mo replay. Certainly one he won't forget. And checking it from the rear view, you can see Dobbs right there. The 24 is your race winner, and he gets into Dobbs, and he has that thing working it. And the wheel work is impeccable. And I do believe Kevin Matz thought he had it. And life, death, and Thomas Bressi making that last lap pass. Well, how about it, Blake Gordon? He does it, and he does it just right. Your race winner at Talladega. Unbelievable. And the 24 machine out in front at the checkered flag, and he makes it all worthwhile at the end. A strong car all night long, making all the right moves. A great show put on for Thomas Bressi as he comes your winner in the Splash and Go Graphics 2-3-4. Bressi wins by 22 thousandths of a second over Gale Brooks. Alan Dobbs in third, Kevin Matz in fourth, and rounding your top 10, it's going to be Jacob Fife, but your top 5 rounded up by Cody Griffin with Casey Shoup, Brad Patton, Rob Ackley, and Todd Thomas in between. In 11th, going to be Boomer Logan, Hayden Pastorius there in 12th, Jonathan Given in 13th, and then Cal Filarski there in 14th. Nick Tarabuck going to be in 15th, Chuck Sweeting 16th, Joe Dinsmore in 17th, Forrest Smith in position number 18, and Brian McFerrin in 19th, as then Kevin McGarvey rounds out your top 20. From there on out, going to be Timothy Johnston, Justin Carey, Matthew Thunderst, Brandon Bernhardt, Braxton Deweese, Alec Daffin, Trevor Trago, Carson Badel, and finally the last man on the lead lap, Alan Rodwell, as Daniel Foss finishes 1 lap down. From there, it's going to be Justin Morton, Kyle Cooper, Don Stevenson, and Cody Smith, and your retirees go as follows: Anthony DeBarro, Brandon Wenger, Nicholas Cohan, Shane Ewing, Travis McQuistion, Justin Rounded. And your 40-car field only has 1 winner, and it's going to be a burnout to remember for Thomas Bressi. Unbelievable job, and he comes home victorious here in Talladega. And as we get ready for Bressi to finish up this burnout, we'll have his interview in just a moment. What a way to do it. And he parks it there on the checkered flag pattern on the start-finish line, and undeniable the race that he wanted. And he comes home as the winner, that number 24 machine, knowing that this one was his at that tail end, making every move just right. Precision is a must at a track like Talladega, and he was as precise as it gets. Undeniable, the way to go for the man in that number 24. Gotta give it up to Thomas Bressi as we will get in your interviews in just a moment. Give us just that moment as we try to sort stuff out and get everyone ready for a talk here, as I'm sure that Thomas Bressi has a lot to get through. One of those races that nobody can forget. Talladega, always exciting, and winning there, that much more of a memory to be made as we continue to work on getting stuff sorted out. In the meantime, we have the replay of that final lap segment. Undeniably, the defining moment for Bressi was making that final charge and getting right about there with your leaders at the tail end. It was bar for bar what he wanted, and he made it with precision. And it seems like now Thomas Bressi going to be on his way, as it is him on victory lane, and he'll be able to park it in. And certainly, Gail Brooks going to be happy with that second. Alan Dobbs in third, as we get things going with our interviews in just a moment here. 90 laps completed, and what a 90-lap showdown it was. The 24-year winner at the tail end of it. And who else but Thomas Bressi to come home victorious. And I'm sure he won't forget this one for the remainder of the season. Looking for a win, none all season long. Oh, so consistent. But tonight, position number 1, the exalted number 24, Thomas Bressi. How you feeling?
Pretty good. Surprised. I was just talking with Alan. We were kind of talking about the run of the line there. Because obviously we had a little contact. I was trying to squeeze him a little bit up towards the wall, see if I could kind of break some of his momentum at all just in that last little run to the flag, because he had help and I'd kind of lost mine. And I don't know if he was saying he thought I just kind of hooked it right on him. On my end, at least looking at the replay, there was some net code in there. So I don't know if, the truth somewhere in the middle or whatever, but certainly was not trying to just fence him or anything. I was just trying to see if I could squeeze him a little bit and break the little bit of momentum that he had there over me. So sorry about that. I know a lot of people got, turned around there at the end, obviously, but it was just trying to hold on to the little bit I had left there coming to the line. So, but yeah, it was interesting night though overall. Team ran great as a whole, which is awesome. Cody got a top 5, Casey got P6. Hayden ran up front all night, came back P12, and Justin, unfortunately, I think got caught in a wreck or two, so he had a more difficult night at things, unfortunately. But overall, better night than I thought for Talladega. Doesn't usually work out quite this well.
And it seems like it worked out quite well for you. Strategy seems you played it very well, although it did get equalized in the end. But when we did have green flag runs, you seemed to be able to get to the front very quickly. So what was your key to success in those longer runs?
Pray a little bit, I guess. Especially after that last pit stop, I was a little worried because there weren't that many laps up. I think it was like 15-ish, something around there. Afterward, like once everybody got done with their stops, and then it basically got 3 wide pretty much immediately. So there was almost nowhere to go. I didn't want to try to force it 4 wide. I saw there was a couple points we got 4 wide, and we were all sitting at the back going, "Oh my gosh!" So unfortunately, we survived at least up until, I don't know if it was like 5 to go or 4 to go, whenever it was at start finish. I didn't even see what happened. I was glancing in the mirror. I saw somebody that was on the outside check up, and I was like, I wonder why they're doing that. And then I looked in front of me, and then there was just death and despair, and the Red Sea just parted, and I happened to get through. So yeah, I've these last handful of plate races that I've run in leagues, I've just tried to kind of change my mentality and just try to run up front, not be crazy aggressive if I didn't need to be, but just stay up front. And because I spent so many races trying to, hang out at the back, and I'd still get wrecked, and it's like, well, that wasn't very fun. So I was like, if I'm gonna get wrecked anyways, I might as well go down swinging and at least maybe lead a lap or 2 in the process. But just happy it worked out tonight. So it's just a surprise, that's for sure. Usually the plate races, as I said, are not don't usually go the best, but this one was a little different.
And it seemed to all work out in differences, making, of course, that difference for victory. Now, Talladega going to be going from a plate track to a short track next time we go at it. 200 laps at Bristol. What's going to take for success there? Because totally different landscape, and unfortunately, we do see a lot of wrecking there.
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of tire management and stuff that's pretty common with these cars anyways, but especially there. I'm not actually sure if it's a day or a night race or what the plan is there. I hope it's a day race because then you actually can kind of move around a little bit. If it's a night race, everyone's just running the boards and it's a track position race basically. But yeah, just trying to just take care of yourself, stay out of trouble, don't overdrive it, pace yourself, all those good things that you kind of need to do everywhere else. But there, the margin for forgiveness is a little bit smaller. So, glad we finally got a win on the season. I felt like I've had a couple opportunities get away from me, and I wish I'd won maybe before this on a track that isn't quite as much of a crapshoot. But I'm glad we still got one, and maybe we can go back to back next week.
And of course, the end goal, a win in the back pocket. Now, Thomas Bressi, the sky's the limit here, as the remainder of the season still ahead of us. So, anyone else you'd like to thank, and anyone final thoughts?
Yeah, again, just shout out to the JT Motorsports guys. Good run for all of us, really, overall tonight. Just the league admins for everything they've done, all of our series sponsors and partners for their support, you for doing the broadcast, obviously, and the great product that you've provided us, and being able to share share our product with the people watching. Hope everybody enjoyed that was watching. Thanks to everybody, I guess, involved, and we'll see you all next week, I suppose.
And there we have it. Looking for next week as Thomas Bressi comes home the victor this week in Splash and Go Graphics 2, 3, 4. Thank you for your time.
Yep. See you, man.
There we have it. Thomas Bressi, top of the board here in Talladega. And the next man up, the driver of that number 71 machine in Gael Brooks. And Brooks able to come home with his first podium of the season. Now, how about that? A great finish to get you rolling with momentum here. So how was it up front at the end of Talladega?
It was scary. That's the best way I can put it. These guys make 3 and sometimes 4 wide look really easy, and I was death gripping it there, hoping to have a chance just to kind of make a move at the end. I thought that caution coming out, I was probably hosed, honestly, because then it's like, okay, here comes another 20 cars and good luck. But I was able to jump to the middle lane, and then I saw the 24 jump up top, and I knew it's like at some point you got to go. So I was like, all right, we're going for it. I'm going to push him and see if maybe luck will turn my way on that one. And it came close. I almost had all the cards lined up perfectly, but just a couple hundred short there.
And oh, so close at the end, but it seemed like momentum was coming your way at the tail end of the race. Now, we noticed on that final green flag pit stop, you were one of the drivers leading your pack in. So we ended up flipping the switch because, the tail end there, final 20-25 laps, you were up there with purpose.
Yeah, no, I definitely towards the end I wanted to I'm always one that tries to save early in the fuel run and then try to basically make up that ground on the latter half, and the guys have to pit a little sooner than me. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna basically save, run the bottom, basically half, 3/4 throttle, and then once they start getting ready to pit, I'm gonna jump middle top and basically try to make sure I don't pit from, let's say, 2-3 seconds behind the main pack. So I was able to steal a lap lead. That was great as well. Bonus points always helpful. And I knew I was good to go on the pit stop strategy because I have one of the best fuelers in the business, Hondo Longmire. He was able to nail the pit stop, got all the fuel I needed, and then some if we had green flag pit stops. So yeah, it was perfect on that one. So strategy was good. I was happy how it turned out. I was in the main pack when it was kind of getting down to crunch time, and then obviously the yellow is just kind of, all right, let's hope we make the right moves and see if we can get a good finish. But I won't lie, I love getting a good finish. I haven't been able to do an interview with you yet, which is always fun to do. So yeah, but greedily, I was like, I saw how close I was to Bressi. I was like, oh man, if only just a little more.
And a little more could come next week at Bristol. In some ways, the direct antithesis to the track like Talladega, but in some ways, oh so similar. Going to be a very action-packed night for 200 laps. What will it take to perhaps replicate the success?
Oh man, you're right. I mean, that's the complete polar opposite of Talladega. I think it just depends on how the car drives there. I know a lot of times you got to run the top and kind of rim ride it. That's not usually my strong suit. So I think, honestly, my goal is going to be to try to just survive and maybe pit strategy. If I can get on a good fuel strategy or whatever it may be, tire strategy, maybe a little off sequence to gain a few positions and put myself in the right place in the right time. I think that's going to be my best bet to have a chance at it. But I have a feeling, I mean, some of these guys in here are just ridiculously fast, and I have a feeling it's going to really come out and show in force next week at Bristol for sure.
And right place, right time. Gael Brooks, second night here in Dega. So when we get down to it, any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Oh yeah, gotta thank all the teammates at Pelletier McQuistion Simulations, as they also was teaming up with Steel Horse Racing. So Travis, unfortunately, he only lasted a handful of laps, and my twin car, I don't know if you were able to catch it during the broadcast, but didn't last very long. But looking forward to doing more with him. Calvin, Joe Dinsmore. There's too many people. Brian McFerrin, and then of course all the admins, Boomer and Calvin, and all those guys. Really appreciate them. And then I gotta thank Kevin Bartelt, because he rated me on Twitch, and I think he brought me some good luck, and I was able to get a good run. And obviously gotta thank you. So I know it's not easy doing these broadcasts, so really thank you for your time, effort, and commitment putting on these awesome shows. So and of course, last but not least, thanks and shout outs to the family, my dad, my brother, my wife, letting me put up with this stuff, or putting up with me doing this stuff, I should say. And yeah, I don't do these very often, so I say I probably should get a list in the future and kind of list everybody off in the remaining orders, and that way you can play the Oscar music to kick me out, man.
Well, there we have it. Still a great night nonetheless. Gael Brooks, second night here in Talladega. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
There we have it. Brooks on his way, and the final driver interviewed the 05 machine of Alan Dobbs, one of those drivers strong all night long, rounding out the podium here. So how do you feel after 90 laps here in Talladega, rounding out in third?
Well, I wish we would have been a couple of positions ahead, but just surviving Talladega is an accomplishment all in itself. So I'll take it, be happy with it.
And of course, a survival of the fittest type event, and able to come home with a very close finish there. The battle for the win with so many drivers involved, and you were right there with them. So what was it that kept you up front all night long? We saw, especially toward the end, making moves, able to keep yourself in it, and toward the end, still seemed to be able to stay the same.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I didn't really have anybody to work with specifically, but all night I just kind of found someone to get behind and push, and ended up pushing a few people to the lead. So maybe I just made a couple of friends, made a few people out there interested in pushing me around a little bit too. But it worked out pretty well. We had that kind of came up on the second line to block the run and caused a big accident. I feel bad about that. I'm really sorry for everybody that got involved in that. I was clear on my side, but things happen, and it was overall my fault. So just want to throw out an apology to everybody for that.
And still able to come home despite an incident very late in it. So when it comes down to it, incident-packed racing, we've seen it at Talladega. Bristol up next. What will it take to go for another podium with 200 laps awaiting us next Monday?
Well, Talladega is the largest track that you hope to survive, and Bristol's the smallest one, right? So I guess that's what we're going to do. Just try to keep pointed in the right direction and make it to the end. Probably end up with a good finish if you can do that.
And all about survival indeed in the night. Alan Dobbs, one of which able to survive very close to that checkered flag, flying for the first place driver, third of the night for the 05. Any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just shout out to my sponsors, Nightfall Racing Graphics and Elite Performance Industries. And just thank you to the league admins and everybody racing. So having a great time here.
And there we have it. Alan Dobbs, third on the board tonight in Talladega. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And that's going to be it for tonight's broadcast. Alan Dobbs, the final driver on the podium, but Thomas Bresson getting his first win of the season. And how about that for him as we round things off live on FTN? Next broadcast going to be Gateway tomorrow night in the Integrity Octane Series, and certainly going to be a great showing there as well. So got to thank all the viewers who came out here tonight as we get things wrapped up. We hope to be back tomorrow night. We hope to see you whenever we are live on FTN. This has been yet another production of the Integrity Racing League and the Integrity Ignite Series. And whenever we're live on FTN, be sure to be notified by using, of course, the subscription button and the notification bell right beside it. We'd love to have you viewing night after night. Thank you all for watching. We hope you have a great night. This has been the Integrity Ignite Series live on FTN.